And
you
then
strike
when
me
I
as a
did,
no-nut man.
Mary, 6 miles away if you watch.
Newcastle fans don't exist.
Yeah.
Shut up.
shout out to my ex, Copenhagen.
Hello and welcome back to Antisocial Podcast, the best looking podcast in the entire world, brought to you by Adrian Flux. Today we are joined by a very handsome man.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
What's your name? David who?
Vujanic.
Vujanic, just for people who don't actually understand how to pronounce it, but hello, Vuj.
How are you, bruv? Thank you for having me. I really
you for coming
appreciate
on.
you
Thank you
guys having me on, getting me out of my dungeon of my home, just doing fuck all for like 2 years right now, lockdown and all that shit.
I love the hoodie, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's
Looks
me.
like you.
It is me from when I was a kid.
Anything you want to plug?
Nah, I might do some merch soon, have a nice.world, but I haven't released it yet because I'm too lazy.
Too lazy.
Yeah, eventually I'll do it, but it takes me like 7 months to just get something out into the world.
That's the thing, bro. I feel like you, when I see you, you always seem to be doing something, but lately I just haven't seen much from you. Why is that?
Are you trying to say that he's been irrelevant?
Yeah, I'm trying to say, what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah, I mean, relevancy is subjective, isn't it, of how we view people. But yeah, I've just been kind of chilling, man. Just sort of chilling at home.
I have
Relaxing
a question
with
that
my
I need
mum.
to ask you.
Go on. Yeah, go for it.
Why were you ginger when you were a kid? But look at your luscious locks right now.
I think it's just gone into the
Bro,
t-shirt.
it's definitely there's a
hoodie.
ginger twinge.
Yeah, bro. Looks like you're trying to run through platform 3.5.
Nah, it's just, I think it's the hoodie still.
Nah, calm. But one question I want to ask: when I first met you, was the short, the very, very like.
I had a fade.
You had a fade.
I used to
You
cut
loved the
my
fade as
hair
well.
like every 7 days, 2 weeks, and then I realized that was some sort of probably like mental illness.
But
I
you
was
did it
cutting my hair
yourself.
so much.
Bro, I like
Nah, just like going to the barbers.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I just wasn't close to my dad, and then like I'd find my dad in the barber.
Daddy
and it's like
issues.
me and the barber would be like, "Oh, he's touching me," like not in that way, but
Yeah.
you know, the barber, we're getting along.
I quite like it. It's like Chris Waddle times Aquaman.
You see, I was
It's
thinking it's
vibes,
more
yeah.
Edward Scissorhands if you
Oh.
shave the
Wow.
beard.
I was thinking more like
Then you
Bali.
could cut your own hair.
I was thinking more like Bali, like you know,
the country.
well, Bali, the city, right? City. It's a place,
place
in
in Indonesia.
Indonesia.
Oh, so you actually are
I think
talking
more
about
like surfer Bali, like yo man,
that.
you know.
Okay.
But I'll go with Chris Waddle times Aquaman.
You kind of you're loving the laid back lifestyle. Kind
Yeah,
of.
I am because like I realized cutting my hair. I was like, why am I doing this all the time? And then I kind of think a lot of it was down to social pressure. Just the subconscious, isn't it? You're always surrounded by people and the world thinking how you should look. And then I think when you're younger, you just, I used to love going to the barber. And then I just started growing my hair since lockdown started last year. So shout out lockdown. Maybe maybe grow my hair.
Smoky barbers.
Smoky barbers, shout out Smoky barbers. Yes.
I feel like in London, it's a lot more pressure to have a fade.
What the fuck? What
No,
do
like
you mean?
in Newcastle, no
one
not,
gets fades.
In Newcastle, fades don't exist.
Yeah.
Shut up.
It's
I've
the
been,
fuck do
I've
you
been
mean?
on a night out in Newcastle.
No, but I mean in London, fades are fresh compared to
fades-
What, so
Newcastle.
they're not unfresh or something in Newcastle?
Yeah, they're
I
not.
think London's a very multicultural city, so the barbers are from quite a few places and they have more experience potentially.
Yeah,
But my guy's Dominican. When I used to get a fade, shout out to the Dominicans.
different
Shout out to
Right,
fresh
yeah.
fades, man. Yeah, very fresh. And then, I just grow my hair because,
You're going to go back to that.
Nah, man.
Nah,
I'm trying to go
Viking
for the
look.
whole, like, Jesus thing.
Jesus.
Yeah, vibes.
Shout out Jesus as well.
Shout out Jesus, man.
Shout out Jesus.
Birkenstocks. He was into Birkenstocks before they were cool.
I guess
Jesus,
I kind of want to start with like how you and I first met, pretty much.
True, go
Well,
for
what
it.
country was that, my friend?
We met in Azerbaijan.
What a place.
This is why I love YouTube and, like, the world.
What a strange...
How did that happen?
I was just in Azerbaijan
Go
one
on.
day and I was just walking down the street and I was just like, a copper 90 guy. What?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
we just bumped into each other. We were just like, yo, let's have a... No, that's not
How mental is that you just bump into each other at Azerbaijan?
Yeah.
Nah.
It was Arsenal-Chelsea, the Europa League final.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
We were there.
I was
and
chatting shit.
It was
about
cool.
I was like,
Just randomly on holiday.
fancy seeing you, yeah.
that. No. Yeah, do you want to talk about it? Like, what?
Yeah, it was cool. And then Bazinga was there, obviously you as well, a few other people. And then, we played on the pitch at Baku, the stadium after the game.
As if you
It's
played
like-
on the pitch, but Mkhitaryan wasn't allowed.
Yeah,
Levels, bro.
There was a mad situation actually at the game where we were sitting in the what do you call it, the lobbies or whatever you call it, and a guy put his flag over the I can't speak English today.
Barrier.
The barrier, that's the one. Sorry, I'm foreign, so sometimes I forget English. And then
I'm foreign too. don't
obviously we're in Azerbaijan, which has not a great relationship with the neighboring country Armenia. The Mauritius flag, if you take off the top layer looks a bit like the Armenian flag.
Uh-huh.
And this dude from Mauritius sitting next to me and my friend Poet had it over the barrier. And people just below us started going mad. They were going crazy at us.
What is the history behind?
And I just thought, like, they have a conflict due to a region. I think now it's within Azerbaijan. It's called the Nagorno-Karabakh region. Lots of ethnic tensions between the Azerbaijanis and Armenians. And I didn't know why they were going crazy. They're like, just shouting at us. And
Maybe they were just a big Copenhagen fan.
Maybe there was Copenhagen, the Azerbaijani massive. And then we realized that the flag next to us, I thought, because it looks a bit like an LGBTQ flag as well. And I thought
That's even worse out there.
I mean, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I thought maybe like they're homophobic. I don't know. I just ideas come into my head because we're not doing anything. And afterwards, I realized when the guy removed it, everybody's like, yeah. I thought, what the hell? And we looked later, and it was like, because it looks like the Armenia flag.
Yeah.
So it was a bit intense.
The
hell
personally should have
attention
just sorted that out with a YouTube diss track. Armenia and Azerbaijan, they should just sort it
I'm
with a
staying
YouTube diss
away
track.
from any of those conversations.
YouTube diss track.
Yeah.
I feel like a YouTube diss
Mad,
track,
though.
that's really what brings people...
That's
really-
what's going to resolve the conflict between.
Well, clearly
Armenia.
nothing else is working. YouTube diss track, go at it, lads.
Yeah, surely we can like resolve world conflicts one day, right?
Buy YouTube diss
But, like,
tracks.
I thought Beyblade battles would be cool.
Swap bullets for
Beyblades, they were
balls.
sick. Do you remember Beyblades?
Yeah,
No,
Beyblades,
no,
let it
no,
rip.
And they
I was
let
just
it
trying
rip.
to...
And
Maybe
then,
like a Hot Wheels race as
like
well.
China against America. And then that's it, over.
Like Skeletrix.
Yeah.
No more war, just
on-
Beyblades.
no more.
There's
Just
a few
Beyblades. Let it
TikTok
rip.
pages that like race Hot Wheels against each other. It's quite fun.
You so fucking love Beyblades.
So did I, bro.
Shout out to Beyblades.
How did you get out there?
Shout
Like,
out to Charizard.
was it Charizard?
My G. I
Charizard.
was always the
Fire.
Charmander when I got the first.
Charmander.
Pokemon. Yeah.
Yeah.
But relevant question.
Were you invited?
Ethan was invited. I was his cameraman, so
Oh,
by
okay.
association, I got invited. You were also invited. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if
was
it was like the
working
same
at
thing, though.
Copenhagen there then, and then I think it was like Amstel or something. Doing like a thing with them, some filming.
But yeah, we were all like at the hotel, like it was like promo stuff and everything. That we just went
fun.
out there. It was a very good time. It was very enjoyable,
What was the pitch like?
beautiful.
Nice.
Was it?
I've never
Yeah.
played. You might have played on a better pitch in your lifetime, but
but
I
that was
haven't.
nice.
Like for me, I was just like, this is Sunday League heaven. I was like, oh my god, I was ripping it out. I was just like, oh,
Is that the best pitches you've played on then?
for me, but not for him.
Yeah, I imagine you've played on a few.
Anfield. Probably Anfield.
You would love that.
I'd love
It's
that.
got to go twice.
Oh, no
Good
flex.
shit, man.
I remember I'm a big Liverpool fan as well. My auntie stole some grass from Anfield and gave it back to me. I don't know what she was expecting me to do with it. Like,
It's dead now.
Kill. But she just gave me grass from Anfield. I was like, okay, that's...
Well, it's like grow your own pitch or something.
grow your own... Yeah, I just make my own Anfield in my back garden. I just collect one by one.
You got the cop end by the bushes.
Every day I go to Anfield, I just take more grasses off the whole pitch.
How did you and you get on the pitch, like?
She got like a tour. So obviously you got to front. And I don't know why, but she just impulsively was like,
It's better than
I
her
love
being a
that, though.
streaker though, right? Like just have run it on, just
yeah, steal
And he's
the
got a
grass.
tits out.
yeah, tits out auntie
Steal
with
the
just
grass.
nab a bit of grass, whack it on the grass.
So I was like, thanks for
again.
that. That was really... I found it cute at the time, but now that I look back on it, I went, that's fucking weird.
No,
Just grass, isn't
I
it?
rate the shithousery. You could have got a lot for that on eBay.
But
People always used to sell that kind of stuff, didn't they?
what, grass?
Yeah,
Really?
when Upton Park was being watched. Don't know why I said that, but yeah.
You get a little
and,
piece of the
yeah,
grass.
everyone was like buying like bricks and shit from
Shout out to
from
freshly cut grass and the smell in the summer.
Exactly.
I love a
Right.
shout out.
Really
for that.
nice vibe.
Something AstroTurf can't live up to.
It can't.
Actually
When you
can't.
cut fresh grass in the summer,
But
That
then
smell.
again,
Oh, the hay
AstroTurf
fever.
is all year round.
man, and it
Smells
rains
good.
a little bit.
Oh no, actually, I'll give
Yeah.
you that. After it's rained, you've got like the dew.
It kind of soaks up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Not the Jew. I mean the Jew. DEW. Yeah, but yeah. Shout out the Jews as well. But
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah,
Shout out to Ellie Menjum,
They would
my
love
guy.
Fortnite.
Just like my friend.
is he Jewish?
He's Jewish. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Big up, big up.
Yeah, shout out Friday night dinner.
Shout out Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah.
So I think one thing that I'd probably say is like we met out in Azerbaijan as an experience. It was like I'd say it was a nice
It
experience.
was nice.
But I'd say one thing that kind of like stood out for me with you was like your spiritual awareness. Like you were going through I wouldn't say you were going through it, but you were reading a book. I don't remember what book. One of many books, most likely.
Yes.
Smoked DMT once.
I haven't.
Oh, very quick to
I
jump
don't
the cannon.
plan to either.
Really?
Yeah, I think you can get to certain states naturally. I don't feel like you
But
need.
it's more one of these
the,
experiences that you're like, I would just like to experience that, see what the fuss is about. I
understand that.
There's,
See what the fuss is about.
no. Like
a
there's
lot of colours and a frog.
yeah, but then there's some people that generally are.
And you
convinced-
might meet Joe Rogan.
And there's some people that are generally convinced that they spent another, life inside that trip. It's like
Yes.
almost a small key to immortality.
So my point is what I was trying to make before we went on to DMT and
Vibes.
immortality is that I felt like when you were talking about, we had like a little conversation about women and stuff, like
Nice.
like
Shout out to
rediscover
women.
it. Shout out to women, love women. But,
I like women, like the side profile of women. It's so beautiful.
Why?
I don't know, like side profiles. I just really like them.
Is that like
is that side profile
It's like a
of
side
the
profile,
face
just so-
or the side profile of the whole thing?
I
Like,
get it.
I think more the face.
I
Like,
get it though. It's the
yeah.
different like angles
like,
and
wow.
everything, innit? Yeah.
shout out Mira May.
That's my G.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, more-
It's like
more
Harry
than-
Panero, my guy. Yes. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, so the point I was trying to make it's about like I'm kind of intrigued by like your spiritual journey. We were downstairs and you were talking about how you don't really see a negative. You talk about these things about like life experiences. So I mean, my question would be really to you is that's like you were saying to me as well that pardon?
I said, "Fix me."
Yeah, fix it.
We all need fixing. It's okay.
So you're 28 years old now, right?
Yes.
There is no girlfriend.
No, not at the moment. No.
But you were talking about your past experiences, with like women and stuff.
Yeah,
Love.
like relationships and stuff. I used
no-
to like be a deep lover, like always trying to be in a relationship and like commit and be like, yeah, we're gonna make this work, and it tend to not work
Why is
as
that?
it goes. But I just think, well, maybe as humans, we all have our unresolved issues, and for me, perhaps I tried to escape into relationships when I was younger. And I realized it. I was like a serial relationship jumper. And then at one point, I was like, wow,
You were one of those.
I've got an issue.
Like as soon as you got a relationship, you'd be into another one the
Yes.
next week.
And then I was like,
know.
whoa, something needs to...
Is that like depending your happiness on being with someone?
I guess so, yeah. Perhaps,
Codependent.
perhaps you could say so. And like, trying to fix someone else and it gave you like a meaning. You're thinking of family and all that. And this is me fucking me like 21, 22. Like, where the hell was my head at? And then I realized after a while, I was like, wow, okay, so you're trying to fill something in yourself. Let me see what this journey's about. And then, since for 3 years, I've been single. And, sometimes you do miss it, but it's been a good journey. And I think, the kind of the whole terming of negative, positive, I think my most richest life experiences have been in so-called negative situations. I think that's where
for
you
you
really...
been a dry patch?
It's been quite a dry patch.
Sorry.
Once I did like 6 months without ejaculating.
6 months.
Sorry?
Is that ejaculating or
Ejaculating.
intercoursing?
Self-ejac.
Nothing. There was nothing for 6 months.
Was that due to your own sex drive or was that like
Just did everything. I was
a
like, nah,
commitment
I'm
to
not
yourself?
gonna I'm gonna try to cut out porn and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
and
you
then
strike
when
me
I
as a
did,
no-nut man.
the
Like a no-nut.
radiator got it. When I eventually did, it was
Yeah.
like,
When the nut finally
yeah,
came,
it was.
It was like a laser.
I
I
once
impregnated the radiator.
you fucked the radiator.
No, but just
Couldn't
couldn't
handle the
handle
heat.
You're wanking
Right.
over a radiator.
What was the longest time that you guys?
my laptop. Anyway,
What's the longest time that you guys did not like ejaculate for? Because mine was 7 weeks.
Oh, bro, I tried to do the 6 month thing in year
Okay.
in year 10.
whoa, you were ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I was ahead of the curve because I remember.
Pioneer.
Yeah, I'd have a
You're like
serious.
Russell Brand's son.
You look a bit like Russell Brand.
I'll take that.
Anyway, year 10, I was wanking twice, 3 times, and I was starting to stink my room out, and I thought something.
Stink your room out.
Yeah,
it became a hygiene issue rather than a spiritual.
No.
issue.
Were you doing it prostate-wise? How the fuck was it stinking out your room?
Yeah, me just think.
Sometimes it does have a bit of a.
It does.
What
It
the
does.
fuck is going
No,
on?
but-
Finish
It
your
does.
story, my friend.
It's a bit like
Yeah.
cloudy, like a cloud.
By the third time, nothing's coming out, and it's just starting to hurt. And I used to do that
Yeah, I
every
hear you.
day.
Oh, it's awful, isn't it? When you get into the last one and nothing's even coming out and you're just like...
It's like clenching. It's
Yeah,
crying.
your
Yeah.
fucking dick's crying, being like, please.
So
Yeah.
the question was, what was the longest time that you guys didn't make it for?
Yeah, it was.
Before bum fingering.
I tried 6 months in year 10. I remember walking
How
home.
far did you get there?
I got to about 4 months, and then
That's good.
and then I think I got a pop up or something like local people in your area. And I was like, I'm not even going to click on this. I'm just going to look at the person who's on the photo.
Holy
right,
shit.
Mary, 6 miles away if you're watching.
Was that a Skype call?
Shout out Mary.
Yeah, that was the Skype call that I got non-stop.
Vibes.
Yeah, vibes, mate.
And you?
I couldn't say. No, I don't think I've ever went along.
I feel like you just literally you're quite carnal, but you're primitive. Like you're like me wank.
Yeah, like I don't make a big deal of it. Sometimes I'll just do it like having a pee. Like I'm like...
Having a pee. So you're wanking whilst having a piss.
Well, not really. But
Two birds, one stone.
sometimes I'll just knock one out quickly because I don't know. Yeah, for me, yeah. I don't know. I just couldn't.
the
I
reason
wish
why
it with a boner is fun.
What? Kissing with a boner. I always have to fucking angle. I end up doing I'm on the toilet just like
Star Wars
I had to go like 2 weeks.
Skywalker shit.
vibes.
There was a stage where I would have to go a couple of weeks maybe like even a month without it, but that's because I had a bandage over my balls, so I couldn't do it if I wanted to.
That was the twisted ball era.
That was a twisted ball situation where I had an operation, so I had like a big fucking like nappy over me. And then I remember one time I was really horny and I had to wank out like the softest.
I love how he's just like, I had to wank. Like, I had to wank. It wasn't even. My point is, the reason why I'm asking this question is that after such a long period of time, that you haven't nutted for, you went for that a period of time, and yourself, that's also a long time. I went for quite a period of time.
What was yours?
7 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
But
was that being a monk?
That was actually genuinely during that time.
I thought so.
But I just, everything fucking turned, the first nut was just jelly. Like, it was fucking solidified as fuck. Like, I didn't know what the hell was going after that. It was fine. It was like easy flow. But I genuinely felt like it was just pure horniness that I was literally just pre-coming all the fucking time.
Yeah,
by the time it came up, it just fucking solidified in the middle of my fucking testes.
Do you know when you go like a time without coming? Do you not feel that kind of like, I know it's like that built up energy though.
I feel a bit more charged up.
Yeah.
There is something there.
I don't know whether I'm more focused. Like when I was gymming, I was doing the no porn stuff, and I was hitting PBs all the time, and I didn't know whether that was just diet or if it was actually both. But I was really like,
who knows?
It could be.
That's what fighter stuff to do.
But when you go into the gym horny, like legit, like you're literally like, I don't want to fuck everyone in the gym, but I walk in there and I'm just like, I take my anger out on the barbell, and then now look at me.
You try to fuck the barbell, you just bend over and just get some.
Yes, I just love weights.
Love weights.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I don't think I could ever go that long without doing something like that. But isn't it? You're supposed to do it scientifically like 3 times a week, aren't you? For like,
you bring up the facts now?
No, for health purposes. Because if you don't, I think you have to do a minimum. Well, not a minimum, but an average of 3 times a week to stop someone such as like breast cancer. Breast cancer, prostate cancer,
breast cancer. Maybe it's for fucking you, mate. Well, you fucking eat.
Anyway, let's move away from wanking because what a lovely topic.
I was going to ask one more question.
One
more question. How you're in a relationship? Same as me. How do you find that in a relationship? Do you do it?
No, because I don't have a need to as much. Because normally it's when you do it, it's like someone that's like, you have to make quite an event out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like what I was saying, when I was doing it before, it wasn't doing it like, oh, let's make this exciting, get with the magazines.
Magazines?
Retro? I did that when I was younger.
Wow.
I used to do it over the Nuts magazines.
I used to do it with my Cheryl Cole poster. Shout out Cheryl Cole.
My brother had Nuts and FHM magazines, and I'd go into his room when he wasn't home, take them, do my stuff, put it back, like nothing happened.
My July month was absolutely finished. It just had the best picture, just fucking pages.
July was a good month for everybody involved.
Anyway, was there a question that you wanted to ask, or can we move on?
Yeah, we can move on.
I love how every podcast we say, this is going to be a normal podcast. And 10 minutes in, we're like, so yeah, how long's the longest you went without wanking? It turned into something weird every single podcast. Pegging, butt plugs, wanking, anything it just turns into.
All right, so you know what, guys, if you haven't tuned out already, because we've been talking about rubbing our dicks, we're going to move on to Vuj, your background.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk to us a little bit about where you're from, your family? Like what?
I can do. Shit.
I mean, shit.
Go for it.
Tell
What
us
do you guys
about,
want to
like,
know?
where are your family from? Were you raised in?
I was
London?
born in Croatia.
You're born in Croatia.
Ethnically Serbian. I came to the UK in 98 after the Civil War. 91 to 95 was the Civil War, so I was born during the Civil War. Then we went to Serbia, and then I came to the UK.
So you're a Serbian driller.
Certified asylum seeker. Yes.
Fair enough.
But you like to say Serbian. If someone was to be like, what's your nationality? What do you... If you born to, you'd be Serbia.
Definitely
Serbia every time.
Serbian,
and that's the one you're most passionate about.
I would say so. I'm a patriotic guy. I love going back home. I love like the food, the people, the vibes.
So who do you support football-wise?
I mean, I've always saying like identity to me has always been a bit of a weird thing because I was technically like stateless when I was born because Yugoslavia was falling apart, and then I obviously went to Serbia and then came to the UK. I support Serbian football, I'd say, and like Serbian players. So any Serbian player.
Who's your favourite Serbian player to
now,
ever grace the game?
Or ever?
Past and present. Let's make it fun.
I have like weird niche players that I like.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'd say Matej Kezman.
Oh,
never had Chelsea.
Kezman. Was he skillful?
He played for PSV, then he went to Chelsea.
Yeah.
I used to like him, but he wasn't that
striker.
He was rubbish at Chelsea.
Yeah.
I just liked him. He had like a bit of a style.
A little bit
to
about him.
Yeah, and I liked Milos Krasic, who played for Juventus, but once again, he wasn't that good.
Well, Vidic.
But Vidic is,
do you know one thing I've noticed about
player,
Serbians? I've noticed that every Serbian surname ends in itch.
It does, yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It means like
psoriasis.
No, it's
I think
true.
Like
name a Serbian player.
Did you miss that?
Yeah, Croatian, Serbian, Bosnian players all tend to end in an itch.
Which is interesting.
I think it's like
It's like the Dutch version of Van.
The Dutch version of Van. That's it.
Van Ginkel.
I'm actually offended for Cam that you missed that joke. That was very, very good, man.
I didn't hear it.
I just said you said everything finishes in itch, and I went psoriasis. But it's fine.
It's made it a lot less funny now.
It's not funny. It's like
good.
Yeah. No, it's all right.
Well done, Lewis, man.
How old were you in 98 when you came?
5.
5? Oh, shit. So can you remember much from previous to 5, like being there?
What, when I was born and stuff?
Like
first 3 years?
Yeah, like
exactly when I came out of
yeah,
my mum.
exactly at the womb.
Exactly.
Sadly not. But I remember like it being a bit weird because it was like a civil war going on. Like little moments, like I remember like being in like just the atmosphere was strange. I remember like being in a shelter, like a bomb shelter. I remember being driving through some weird forest when we were like leaving the city we were from. Just like weird, it's like a weird atmosphere. I think as a kid you pick up on your environment quite a lot, and they say like 0 to 7 is when your subconscious is like intaking everything. That's when like a lot of our personality is formed.
Yeah. So do you think much of your personality, like I don't know whether that kind of thing, people talk about it like it coming from a different country like drives you a bit more, like a little bit of some people say itch on you, not itch, fucking chip on your shoulder, an itch kind of thing where you've got to prove.
That's the German version.
I think when I was younger, perhaps a bit more. As I like to question my motives, and I'm an open character, but last few years probably not as much. I'm a bit more like relaxed and I don't identify with it so much. But before, because you do feel like I have something to prove. You feel like this isn't where I'm from, and you might just feel like the world's against you a little bit. Do
you think that's because you've achieved quite a bit? Now you're like kind of just vibing?
Yeah, potentially that as well. Like, obviously I was at Copper 90 for a while. I did like my parody videos, early YouTube. I started YouTube when there was no adverts on YouTube. So like even like I think like the first track KSI rapped on was with me.
What was that?
Was that Boris Pike?
Boris Pike, yeah.
Boris Pike.
JME and KSI jumped on, and he told me in the studio, he was like, I'm getting signed soon, so it's good that you shouted me now. And I was like, oh, wicked, man, that's nice. Like,
shit.
How did you meet them for that to come about? Like, how did that come about?
I think because I was doing my parody videos back then, he's probably seen a few of mine, and I don't know, I probably just met him at maybe like one of Spencer's things.
Just how YouTube works, basically.
Do you know what I mean? Like, everybody kind of sort of knew each other. Now, JME from also my parodies, I think he's probably just seen them from before, and I just shouted, you guys want to do this like parody of like German Whip? And then they came down, and it was sick. I really enjoyed it. It was banging.
That?
Who filmed it? My guy Kirk, and I'm not sure Con was involved. I don't think Con's filmed some of my videos.
Con did something with you in the last couple of years.
Immigration Bling.
That's the one.
Has Con been around that long?
Con's been about time, bro.
I'm quite like old school YouTube. Yeah. Like I loved it back then because I feel that's why I genuinely just loved YouTube back then, because the motivation wasn't money, and it wasn't to like make a career out of it.
Whereas us, it's for money.
I'm not saying that, no. But it was just pure, just creative energy.
I was making videos then as well, but I was just 10.
But I feel you. I was like maybe 18, 19, 20, but still, you know.
Wait, do you know how old you were when you first started YouTube?
I think like 19, 18.
And is that what age did it become a full-time job for you?
Probably 22.
22. Was that just because the money came in at a certain point?
I started working at Copper 90, the football channel.
Oh, okay.
And my boy Poet, and then that became more like an actual job, and then that was weird as fuck. But it was amazing. I had some great times there.
So before we start talking about all that, how did you like first decide to actually start getting into content?
I was like a bit of a class clown character growing up, and I had a lot of energy. Probably wanted to get some attention from humans as well, naturally.
Don't
we all? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? All
every
of us,
YouTuber seeks validation.
We all just want a bit of validation and a tap on the back. I enjoy making people laugh. And Lonely Island were my kind of early inspirations. UK-wise, like Shadrach and the Man, Them Guns and Pork. I don't know if you know that song. Classic kind of like spoof parody type song. And I was like, yo, this would be sick if I could do something myself. And I took a gap year, like a year out before going uni. And I just started doing parodies by myself, and then they did quite well. Did this character Bricka, Eastern European like rapper.
Yeah, that's crazy how, because the first like,
what a name.
Like, you know, now we see people do parody songs, it's probably like they've taken inspiration from another YouTuber. When you started, you're taking inspiration from outside of that kind of thing.
Exactly.
So it's just strange the way that, like, I don't want to say you birthed it on Eastern, but now you'll see a lot of parody songs when you started there wasn't. So do you think you've maybe had like a bit of an effect on certain UK, like,
potentially
pioneer?
Like, pioneer. That's the word.
Pioneer.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that was the time I came along, and it was awesome Chunks told me that he used to watch a lot of my videos, and I thought that was quite awesome.
I think
So you're the reason for Chunks' success, is
No,
what
I
you say.
wouldn't say that.
I think a lot of
He's his
people
own
have
man. He's
watched
incredible.
your stuff though,
Yeah.
because you have been around for quite a long time. That there's been so many different eras throughout YouTube.
Yeah,
But, like when you look
exactly.
at people who've been quite like consistently throughout those things, and like you say, for example, like Con's been around for time. It's
Yeah,
the same kind of thing
incredible.
that you've been around for like quite a while as well. You know,
Yeah.
like even like from like the Copper 90 era to then coming up to like what's going on. That's why I was saying like, what have you been doing like recently, kind of thing? Because we were speaking downstairs about like what is it that's going
I
to be.
don't
like,
know.
next
I
for
feel
you,
like
you know?
mentally I struggled throughout a lot of those periods.
Yeah.
And I think like I was quite anxious and like, I don't say depressed, sometimes depressed, but I think there was a lot of anxiety surrounding my creativity and like putting stuff out. And do I even want to put stuff out? And I think I started doing stuff more for like, this will bang, so
Yeah.
I'll put it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the Nando's song, remember when you done
Nando's,
that?
Cheeky Nando's. That I actually wanted to do that one. I was very happy to do that one. I had a feeling like this is going to do really well. I'm going to put this out. That took like 7 months to put out. But I'm more of like a project man where like I prefer putting myself into a
Long-term things
project.
type things.
Yeah, like on a really cool music video.
Rather than like what's next, something that's like I want to be doing this for however long. Type
Sort of.
So is it like you're quite like emotionally like invested in your content?
Yes, and like I like organic. I like the organic feel of like something coming up, and I'm like, oh, that ticks something in my brain. Let me do that.
That's what we say, because like when we talk about a video that we really like and you put it out, you want it to do well, but you're not that bothered because you
you like the
actually
video.
liked the video.
If there's a video that you expect to do well and it does shit, that's like fuck.
Yeah, when you don't like the video and it does shit, that's the fucking worst feeling.
It's a
ever.
weird one, isn't it? I think YouTube and putting out content in general, and I think a lot of people from that era have had their battles mentally and emotionally. And
Could I ask you a little bit of a deep question? Because, for
course you
example,
can.
you've been around since the start. What year exactly? 2011, 2012?
probably 2011, 2010.
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, and from
Since
what
the
year?
Mayan calendar
Fucking
ended.
coffin dodger.
And from what year did it become full time? Because I feel like that's when it becomes mentally tolling. I feel like when you're doing it for fun, it's not very mentally
Maybe
tolling.
like 13, 14.
2013,
when I was more
2014.
like a copper 90,
Because
yeah.
I've been doing YouTube on and off since I was like 10, but actually full time probably about a year and a half, 2 years.
Okay.
And I feel like it's so mentally tolling. Like I sit there most days and I go, I don't know how many more years I can do this before I go mental.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to ask you, how does it feel doing it long term? Is it better? Is it worse? Like doing it for this long? Is it like it is what it is, or do you feel like you've had some? Every creator has burnouts and that, but I just want to know how has it been mentally over a long period of time? Because you've seen it go
Tough.
from a quiet.
like a little niche thing.
Yeah,
a
quiet-
little like
quiet
against the
platform.
system.
Now all us fuckers are here.
Hey, you know, I feel like that was a question that was just never ending. That question just kept going, but it's the same thing.
Because it's like so deep. It's
Yeah,
like,
no, I hear you.
it's like,
I'm joking.
Because it started off as just a little thing, a little website. Twitter and Instagram.
yeah.
Instagram wasn't a
It wasn't
thing.
even about. No,
Yeah,
it was like
Twitter was
2014.
like I remember Twitter was a thing, but it was the conversion rate. Like no one really went and
Yeah,
followed
yeah.
their favorite creators. So how is it from someone like you seeing it, the whole social media turn from nothing to something massive in like 8 years?
I think at times it's like overwhelming.
Of course.
Whoa. Like there's just so much out there now, isn't there? And it's great because people are making a livelihood and it is giving people opportunities to do stuff they love. And
Anything they
I've
want.
had an amazing journey and I still am grateful for the journey that I'm on, even if I am a bit less out there. But it's been tough. Definitely had like the ups and downs and moments of like, I hate this, I don't want to do it. And then as I said, like I didn't want to force stuff anymore. I think that's why I've come to this moment now where I'm a bit more just reflective and taking it all in and appreciating the journey I've been on because I never really had the opportunity to like just sit back and enjoy what I've done.
You're a bit like Eminem, and we're like the little rappers, you know, like little pump and shit coming through. Then you've got like the guy who's been doing it for ages.
Who would you be? I'd be Blueface baby.
You'd be Blueface, baby.
Blueface baby.
Nah, I'd be like fucking little Zan me.
I think
One
thing,
good song and you're fucking depressed and a drug addict.
Right, well, Merry Christmas.
One thing that I'd like to kind of like ask and touch on is that we were talking about what it is that you would like to be doing, whether you're going to make that return kind of thing. And whilst we've established that you've been here for quite a long time, do you see yourself continuing or returning back to something that you were doing before, or do you kind of want to approach it in a different manner?
It's tough. It's a tough question,
isn't it?
Tough question, lad. I'm not sure. There's just so many things that run through my head that it's about catching that thing that really tickles my fancy. because sometimes it's just a bit too much going on in my brain. So I've got quite a big head as well, so thoughts fit in.
That's very prominent, isn't it?
It's a Balkan head, like Serbian Nemanja Vidic type, kick me in my head.
Harry Maguire kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a bit of a Maguire.
I would not want to go up for a header against you at football. I'm not gonna lie. I'll come out very, very.
If you put on a Serbia kit, I wouldn't say that you wouldn't look like a Serbian centre back.
I just fucking hope so. He's Serbian, bro.
Well, yeah,
yeah, I get you. I get the joke.
I said it could be a centre back.
Yeah.
Would you say you're a centre back?
No, I'm like, oh fuck, what's his name? The guy that used to play for Borussia Dortment.
Subotic.
Subotic. Yeah.
Subotic. You give me them vibes. You've got the same haircut as he had back then. What a player! What a player!
I don't know. I think I'll see what comes up. I've been like sort of writing a bit more songs and messing around a little bit. Obviously, I got my channel with Poet. That when we left Copper 90, we just kind of started our own little channel. It's quite like a niche channel, I'd say. We have like quite a niche audience.
Yeah.
I've never been a sort of, hey guys, welcome. Hey, like a YouTuber. I always find myself a bit like anti whatever's.
Probably because you're sick of it now.
Yeah, possibly because I'm a little bit sick. But I honestly like one thing I find amazing is like the audience that I've interacted with.
Is it still the same from when you started?
No, not. I wouldn't say it's the same, but it's just like having conversations with people on like Instagram, and I always try to reply to like messages as much as I can, and it's like you do you have an effect on people's lives that you don't even
100%.
know that you do, and I think a lot of the time that's something that kind of touches me and goes like, you know what, you've done a good job.
You have a really dedicated audience though. Like they'll follow you. Like from Copper 90, the what's the series you got? The comment series.
Comments under.
Yeah, Comments under.
Talk about football. Yeah.
Yeah, no matter what game it is, no matter what it is, it's always the same amount of views.
Yeah, it's like 50 to 100k.
Yeah.
Like every time, 50 to 100. It doesn't change. And
Yeah.
I kind of like that. It's almost like we're going undercurrent. Like, we're not in the big conversation. And
It's just you and your
under the radar.
I kind of like that. It's like a cult,
Yeah.
Like, I fucks with that vibe.
Have you been in YouTube so long that views, like, do you still look at numbers and get disheartened or annoyed, or do you feel like you've been in the game so long that you're just like, yeah, what is type thing?
I think at times it still can. It's really, I think as a human being, naturally you do compare.
Of course.
But less and less. And, when I do like merchandise, people do support when I do my Have a Nice stuff. And it's cool, man. At the end of the day, what I've done, I think it has been cool. And yeah, like just people, I'd go to like random places, like fucking, I don't know, like Texas, and someone would be like, hey, Vuj, man, what up? I'm like, oh shit, that's random. Like, just
Azerbaijan
those kind
fans.
of moments.
Have you been
Big
to,
fan.
like, yeah, they loved them, didn't they? They loved them. Whoa!
Copper 90.
You've been to a lot of places, you're a well-travelled man.
Yeah, we travel quite a bit. That's what I mean, man. Yeah, my MOT is just kind of like...
What's your favourite and worst place?
Favorite place, there's quite a few.
Don't see Azerbaijan.
That was an interesting place to go to.
Interesting.
It was so weird there, bro.
I love like countries that people don't usually go to. I
how-
loved Azerbaijan.
What was your stop off to get to Azerbaijan, by the way?
I think it might have been
because I stopped in Istanbul.
Istanbul. Yeah, Istanbul. Yeah,
Imagine flying to Istanbul, then going to Azerbaijan after that. It was so random. It's
Brazil. Sorry. Brazil was incredible with the World Cup.
Oh shit.
Very cultural, very different place, isn't it? I can imagine it can be. Did you go see Christ the Redeemer?
What a country. I saw him. I didn't go up and like go up and take a photo. But
you go to the
you can
beach?
actually go in it, which is fucking mental.
In Christ the Redeemer.
No, not inside him, not quite. But you can go on like his
Now we're
shoulders
talking.
and like look outside. It's fucking massive, mate.
Brazil was awesome.
Vuj, did you go to the beach? Did you go Rio?
Went to the beach, played football on the beach.
What was it like on the
So
beach?
fun, man. That was like a dream come true for me. You know?
Yeah, it would
Did you
be
feel
a
like
dream come true for
Ronaldinho
me
for
as
10
well. I'm not
minutes?
gonna lie.
I did an R9, like he was one of my heroes growing up to like actually go to Brazil, and then I met him at the Russia World Cup, which
No
was
way.
Did you?
yeah, R9, the OG Ronaldo.
Can he speak English?
Yeah, like vaguely, yeah.
Did you ask him if
Putting
he's
a
heard
bit
of
away.
Copa 90?
Huh?
Did you ask if he's heard of Copa 90?
I didn't. I don't think he had, but it's fine.
What kind of English was he speaking? Was he like deco? Was
A bit deco-ish. Yeah.
When me and Vuj did this thing with Ethan where we met each other. We just got on the bus after because when we played football, Deco was playing with us. He just came. He didn't really move much, did he? But tech, unbelievable.
So he was shit.
Was he a little clumpy bastard?
He
was a little bit.
Yeah, he's been eating a few quesadillas.
How
kind of
was he
thing.
now?
Huh?
In his 40s,
yeah,
50s?
his 40s, yeah. I don't know.
Deco's a legend.
Yeah, but he came out to give like a team talk to like everyone that was playing on the day, and he was like, "Hey,
What's up, ladies?
Have nice game, play well." And then me and Ethan and Vuj just looking at each other like, and then after we just got on the bus, we were just like, "Hey." So now we just send voice notes. And you saw it.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, bro. We're like, "Eh."
We play football.
We went wild with it. We just kept going, just making weird noises. It went from like a joke to like...
Deco, if you're watching this, we're sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
No,
sorry,
no,
man.
shout out Deco, man. What a fucking hero. But yeah, that was funny.
Could he ping a pass?
Oh, mate, Tech, unbelievable. Like, he weren't trying. Like, he didn't have to try. He was just there, just vibing. Like, it was like prestige level 5.
How would he play it Shoreditch though? That's a question I'd like to
He'd
ask.
absolutely spin everyone. Like, no chance.
Professional footballers just have this like awareness that just normal people just don't.
It's different, bro.
You've not seen me.
So Russia's amazing.
You've not seen me with pre-workout.
Russia's
amazing, yeah.
Was that for the World Cup as well?
Yeah, I went there for a month. It was so good.
I might want to take my
political, though,
painted nails off if I go there.
Yeah,
It's political everywhere, isn't it?
How does Russia compare to Brazil? Like,
Completely polar opposites in terms of like the people and the cultures, but football was the kind of bridging factor, isn't it? And during the World Cup, Russia was like heaven.
because a lot of people said a lot of things about Russia, didn't they? About people going out there, it's not safe to go for the World Cup.
There's always like propaganda, I think, from like every country when there's someone else.
There was a bit of, I think it was unwarranted, a lot of it. But also, I know Putin from hearing on the ground that him and the security services in Russia made sure there was no hooliganism for that month.
Just for that
Just that 1 month, yeah.
Yeah, all the dodgy characters were sort of given warnings that if you come out,
Every country has these stigmas, though, don't they? Like Russia is just the rough, homophobic, racist batterers. Same with England.
Everyone has that, though.
England fans, like when they go abroad, certain times just bat that shit. But you won't hear as much about that.
I feel like we get battered now. Like, I feel like I feel like we used to be like the fuck you.
Then Russia came about.
Yeah, but then like countries which actually would back the beef, whereas now we just in the stadiums when we're barricaded off, like fuck off, wanker.
And then when they come, you're like, oh, it wasn't me.
And then they're like Russian men walk out with like clubs, like what you say to me, like like we actually get
Ukrainians
fucked.
as well. Yeah,
I
they
feel
all
like
the
we
same
get
as well.
fucked,
They've all got the skinheads. They're all about 5'9". They're all like this.
Shevchenko. Right, beautiful man.
Shout out Shevchenko.
Shout out Shevchenko.
Yeah. So was R9? Is that like the out of every footballer you might see not necessarily the most like well known, but is that probably the favourite footballer you've ever
for
met?
me, him and Stevie G.
Stevie G,
I guess that's a Liverpool.
Yeah, what was that?
Rocket right foot, bruv.
Stevie G.
What was that like?
A rocket right foot. I was nervous. I went in goal and he took some shots against me.
How did you do? Did he save?
Shaved one-on-one.
Stinger.
But wow.
Fucking mate.
He is incredible. That velocity of that strike is mad.
It was Theo Baker.
It's just like...
He was saying that every footballer, like at the football YouTube events, he was saying Stevie G was like class above all the other pros.
Yeah, incredible.
What other pros were you talking about there?
Well, they've got like who was it? Trezeguet, Cafu.
Oh no, that was at my
Perez played, doesn't
yeah,
he?
but
Wembley Cup.
Theo Baker's played in quite a few, hasn't he? So
yeah,
he's got his fair share of the veterans. But no, Stevie G is one of these players that's like.
Bro, Trezeguet, I didn't think Trezeguet was that good, you know. I tackled Trezeguet, right? 1998 World Cup when I was fuck off, right?
You tackled him?
Yeah, I tackled him, mate.
What was he doing? Was he just standing on the ball trying to get past you?
No, it was in the warm-up. No, I'm joking, it wasn't in the warm-up. He was just standing there and I just nicked the ball off him. I was like, yeah, I'll just pass it to Cafu, mate, see you later. Right.
You said it was a bit awkward playing with like Cafu though, just because he didn't speak much English, didn't you? Just cause...
Yeah, mate, but his football does the talking.
So does his dick.
He had a big dick.
Who?
Cafu.
Massive cock, apparently.
I've mentioned this quite a bit, yeah.
Every single podcast.
I feel like his cock's got a mention at least 4 times.
Yeah.
Mate, it's so big, right?
Maybe we need to clip it. Maybe we need to clip.
What was Cam Kirkham Cafu cock
compilation?
Mate, it's a game of inches and Cafu's is fucking loaded, right? Loaded in the inches.
Fucking, you'd be offside with that. No wonder he played centre back.
Maybe this is like the sort of subconscious why you like getting pegged.
Sorry, what?
Maybe it's just subconscious, isn't it? Just like he just sees a cock. And
Cafu, sorry, sis, I'll just pick up the football. No,
Cafu, I fell over. Give me a hand.
Shout out to penises, man.
Shout out to penises.
Yeah.
Can you help me get these shorts on, Cafu? Bit tight.
Right, okay.
Shout out to foreskin.
Shout out foreskin.
Did he have a foreskin?
Everyone here got a foreskin?
Yeah, well, he did have a foreskin. He was great on the cover. You know, loves it. Covering the other centre back. Not with his foreskin.
Hoodie on, my bro.
Hoodie on.
Have a nice.
Yeah, we're hooded up. Bally's out.
Who's the best player you've played with? Was it Gerrard, did you say? Like, because you've played in a lot of charities things.
You've got a wide CV of players.
Quite a few. I'm trying to think. SCN was quite good, wasn't it?
Oh,
I think he played in Wembley Cup.
Yeah, I remember SCN in the Wembley Cup I went to. In the the tunnel walking out. Cafu walked on the corner and Essien came, and it was like fucking Thanos and Captain America. And all I heard was Essien go, "Hey, Cafu!" And Cafu was like, "Hey!" And they're just like right in front of me, just like hugged or whatever. And I was just like, "What the fuck is my life?" Just for that split second, it was like the best moment.
I just find it funny that you had the skinheads, your eyebrows were grown back, and Cafu to play with you. You probably thought he was a fucking Make-A-Wish. Sitting there just passing in the warm-up. This guy was like, Cafu!
You played the Wembley Cup?
Yeah. For EXO.
Oh, and the EXO, the series,
The worst Wembley Cup.
And
Yeah. That was
that's the one I didn't get a call up for, but it's okay. It's okay.
That was one that was a little bit too serious for
It got a bit too mad, didn't it? I didn't really I only caught up with it when it all resurfaced.
It was only ever going to go that way, though. I feel like with when Spencer does things, it's very
professional.
He likes to do things right, you know.
Yeah,
as in, I'd say right, but then it becomes like when you try and incorporate more competition to make it higher stakes, people take it more and more seriously. And then when you invite people like Jeremy Lynch, it's only going to go like, oh.
The problem is with the F2 is that, like, with EXO, it's a laugh, but with Jeremy Lynch, like, it's his brand on the line. And the F2 are, like, meant to be, like, a full-fledged football team. Yeah, so when you've got, like, Love Island people playing, they don't want to lose, whereas we didn't really
give a shit.
Yeah, we talked about that, though, didn't we? We were like, if you were a failed professional footballer and you were getting shown up by YouTubers, that hurt your fucking ego so much. So I don't blame him why he's, like, so, like, fucking look at this top bins.
Maybe get a different job, though, if you're getting shown up by YouTubers. But the question that I want to ask that you were saying is, like, imagine if... You played at Anfield, right?
Yeah.
Can you just talk us through? You said, did you score at Anfield?
Yeah, I scored. There was like
talk us through that,
with
mate.
New Balance.
Shout out New Balance.
Shout out New Balance. Come on, Furons and that. Sadio Mane. Fucking just got put through on goal. Put it bottom corner. Can't remember.
All right.
It was a nice goal. I was so happy. Adrenaline after the game, I was like, wow, my God, scored at Anfield. Nearly cried.
Was it the cup end?
I'm an emotional guy, innit? Jeez, I'm always crying and shit. But yeah, it was sick, man. Scored a goal, a cup end, yeah. And then it felt really good. And I was like, well, this is how footballers feel afterwards. I could imagine this is the vibe.
Is that when we had the red nets?
Yes, I think it was the red nets. Warrior shirt.
Warriors.
Yeah, but recently I'm sort of gone off football a little bit because I've been in it so long.
Is that because of Liverpool's performance, or is it just because of how you're feeling?
Not at all, man. Not at all. Even like when they won the Champions League last time, when they actually won it, I was like, I kind of wouldn't have minded if Spurs got an equaliser just for the shits and giggles. You know?
I was like, oh my God, we've not won. We lost last year. As I was watching it, but I was like, bit boring into it. I was like, I wouldn't even be that mad if they scored just to spice things up a bit.
Yeah. It's a weird one. I think I realised like football is, it can be a bit of a distraction, and the modern football, the game, so much money in it, and
takes it. I
think the culture. I prefer just like watching Red Star Belgrade.
You were at a hashtag game, right? It's like the non.
Yeah, I went to the hashtag starter.
Do you like that kind of stuff? It's more like
so
culture,
fun, man. It's just more fun.
So I love playing Sunday League, but obviously Sunday League to non-league is very different. But all that kind of vibe, it feels so much more raw, gritty, towards like actual football. Like you enjoy it.
Exactly.
Even like Sunday League where you go and then you just go pub after. I mean, like not really in these COVID times, but but even that it's so, like I feel like it's the football culture behind it, rather than you lose that when you start watching Premier League and Champions League.
Also, like
it's great, but
not being from this country, right? You're always sort of like questioning yourself. Well, for me anyway, maybe not everyone. And then like I was obviously a huge Liverpool fan. I'd go to games and I'd go mad at the games. Like I was like front row.
Oh, are you one of them?
You two would get on great.
I was a
no. I'm not like that in real life. I'm not one of these people.
Football.
No. Playing I am, but not watching.
Like
I'm not watching.
Man.
Fucking referee. I'm like the ref can't
hear you. Bro, I used to go mad.
Really?
But then I realized like after a while, I was like, maybe I was just like overcompensating a little bit.
You know what I mean? Introspection.
Introspection wise, I was like, maybe I was just sort of overcompensating.
You weren't having a nice.
I was at the time, but I think there was way too much energy going into that. And then I realized, people used to always tell me, like, why do you support Liverpool? You're not even Scouse. And I'd be like, no, like, I'm a fan, innit? Like,
why do you support Liverpool?
Just like Michael Owen when I was like 5 years old. I was like, this guy's cool.
Mine was the same, not Michael Owen, but when I was 5 or 6, I asked for a Pepe Reina football top.
Nice.
Not a Liverpool top.
Like that shirt, the green one.
No, I actually got the green one for Christmas with my name in the back. It was orange one. It was like that orange with black Adidas.
Oh, I remember that one.
Nice.
Yeah, I said I wanted the Pepe Reina kit for Christmas. I didn't get it, but I got a different kit with my own name in the back. So
But that was me. And then after a while, I was like, wait a minute. Actually, let me look at that question. Why do you support? And then I was like, oh shit, there is no real reason. And then afterwards, when I had a bit of like a mental, breakdown rejig. I was like, shit.
Do you feel like it was just guilt? You felt like you weren't born and bred as a scout.
I wouldn't say guilty, but there was a questioning of this isn't really who I am in a way. So I think I was sort of overcompensating.
So you're saying you were like, was it Serbian
football? I love football, but yeah, I'd say I
Are you more involved in that now?
When they get into the Europa League and Champions League and national team, but also still not as passionately because I realised that football it shouldn't dictate my day and my emotions.
Bro,
yeah, that's
100%.
I went through a stage like for 2 years where I just stopped watching it because I remember thinking like when you really think about it, does it matter if I support this team?
No, it doesn't.
When I die,
win or lose.
Yeah, when I die, this team is going to be going after I'm finished. So why does it matter if I show support or not?
And even when you work in football as well, you start seeing stuff behind the scenes, and you're a bit like,
yeah, you fucking see Arsenal fan TV. They only take that fucking personally.
Did you see the picture of Alisson and Pickford like hugging each other after the?
People go mad, didn't it?
Yeah, but then you saw Klopp behind, and he was like clearly like a bit pissed off about it. But like that's like a Merseyside derby, like that's a big game, and then Liverpool obviously lost 4 like, on the trot at home or whatever it was.
On the trot.
Was Pickford hugging Alisson? Could he get his hands around him?
Alisson had his arm around it, but they were like chatty. But it's just like you realise as well, the more you understand like from behind the scenes, but also actually just if you use your brain just looking at footballers, they don't give a crap about that kind of stuff. They're there to do their job, and also some of them love like football and they want to.
They don't hate other teams like.
Whereas fans have that culture. Like West Ham fans like hate Millwall. Millwall hate them. We also don't really like Chelsea.
Yeah,
Spurs,
I'm not like that anymore at all.
Exactly. Like I don't really have that either because I actually really like Spurs or I like them this season. Not the fans, but I like the club. Like I liked Pochettino. I like Jose Mourinho, but also I really love their front three. But I can't really say that as a West Ham fan. I love Spurs because I don't.
If you look at it from the footballer's point of view, though, like devil's advocate, like if let's say you're a footballer, you play for, I don't know, fucking a team in another country, are you really going to give a fuck about a rival? I know you play for them, but you're not. You're thinking as a West Ham fan, if you go over to Spain, play for Villarreal first, there, are you really going to care as much?
I think it depends. I think it's just a different era that we're playing and watching football in, where like the Roy Keane era kind of stuff. Even then, like the 80s, 90s, they still had foreign players. Yeah, and they still absolutely clot each other up in the air because they would buy into like the fan mentality and also the club mentality. Whereas now, I feel like there's so much money that goes thrown about. Contracts are different. There's allegiances you don't have to be as loyal because you can move for
it's
better.
More about the player and the brand. I feel
Game's gone soft.
No, but I mean, the game has gone soft, but given
and it also depends if you're a fan of that team growing up. Like I can confidently say, for example, if someone in my hometown grew up playing, was a Celtic fan and played for Celtic, they would fucking love to kick the shit out of anyone if they were in an Old Firm game.
I still feel like Rangers Celtic's got that bitterness, hasn't it?
Yeah, Scots are a little bit more primitive.
It's because it's got that religious sense as well for the Protestants and the Catholics. Like it's a lot deeper rooted. Well, to some people, especially the older people. But like I remember at school, this is generally what happened after an Old Firm. Let's say Rangers won. Celtic fans wouldn't come into school the next day.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
They wouldn't come into school the next day. They wouldn't come because they knew they would get fucking teased and there'd be arguments. People would sit there and argue for hours about it, and it was fucking mental.
Well, I was wanting to ask you, going back on the topic of football, how did you were doing the parody songs and everything, how did you get into more football-related content?
My boy Poet just shouted me, the Copper 90, the channel was launching. They had a show that they wanted to do called Comments Below. And then he just called me. He's like, yo, there's this opportunity to just start work at this football channel. We talk about football every week. We might get paid. I was just starting uni and I thought, well, that sounds like a dream, doesn't it? And then we started that. And then I came up with a FIFA and Chill idea. We did like the interviews with the players. And then
we used to bang, didn't it?
Yeah, that used to pop like bang. Yeah. And our goal with that was to make footballers more comfortable and more organic. And then it was quite difficult at the beginning because brands were skeptical. There's this tall Serbian guy and this tall Jamaican guy with plaits. What the hell? And we were quite wild on the shoots. Like, hey, don't worry, it's all going to be good, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then we did manage to do quite well, with those interviews. And, did well. And then that's it. Went from the parodies to that. Did a few parodies while I was still there. I was like, there's so much going on in my life at that time. I was like uni. Like my parents were breaking up at that time as well. So I was just sort of going through there's too much on my plate at the time.
So how did that work for you with Copper 90? Did you really just have to show up or did you have to try and reach out to footballers or were you...
I think it all kind of organically started happening where brands would shout Copper 90 and then we'd be the talent that would show up. But we'd also sort of be the creative talent as well. We'd have like production ideas ourselves. Like my idea was FIFA and Chill to do it as a concept, and I was like, let's do this gaming show with a bit of food, and obviously Netflix and Chill as a meme was quite popular then. So
You did one with Maya Jama.
Did one with Maya Jama. That's my G.
I bet you probably wish that was Netflix and shit. I'm sorry.
It's my G. I can't say that. But I mean, look,
it's your G. Maya Jama is my G. I wish I could say that. Maya Jama is my G.
That's my
Maya Jama, if you want to be my G, let's do it.
She's not watching. She's not watching,
and she does not want to be your G.
She's a mate, but a very, very beautiful human being.
She is gorgeous, isn't she?
But
she's also very like attractive as a personality.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Bubbly.
Very bubbly. Very Bristol.
Word to describe.
Bubbly's a funny way to describe people. I feel like that's what you describe like fat women as.
Yeah.
Oh, she's lovely. She's bubbly.
I mean, physically bubbly, or just
No,
like
like,
what you say, just because like you want to say something nice.
You know, she's dead chatty. You know.
Yeah, it's when one of your mates to be like, "Oh, I've got a girl that like you," and you'd be like, "What she like?" She'd be like, "She's bubbly."
I'd be like, "Oh, I'm ill that day." Sorry.
I'm ill that day.
Yeah, I'm interested with the Cop by 90 stuff because you work with who are some of the footballers you've worked with, like big ones.
Like Neymar,
Yeah,
Beckham.
Fucking hell.
Is Neymar a cunt off camera?
Nah, he was cool, man. But maybe it's because how we were, how I was
Have you
with
seen
him.
him stream CS:GO? Neymar.
Yeah, he streams a lot.
He's a really good CS:GO player.
I've noticed some of these football players actually quite
Aguero.
good at games, like recently.
Diego Jota was number
Jota,
one.
yeah.
The other week he was number one in the world at FIFA.
Really?
He went on Weekend League, he went 30-0.
Serious?
Insane.
Yeah, because he's injured. He's got nothing better to do. He's like, I was going to play until I lost, and he didn't lose.
I've heard footballers when they finish training, they just go straight into FIFA. Like,
Yeah.
So I can imagine just 24/7, just mental. How relentless that must be with football. No wonder they hate it.
I want to ask. Fair enough. I want to ask pretty much like football players, like off camera. Did you at the start? Because obviously you've probably like worked with quite a few. Did you ever get quite nervous?
Hell
to meet
yeah.
some?
Mad nervous.
Was there any some that you got like way more nervous for? Because I can imagine if I met like Mbappe, I'd be really like nervous. But if I met like Joey Barton, I'd be a bit like, yeah, my G.
Yeah, how's it going?
Put on a French accent.
Yes, precisely. Is anyone that like how do you feel approaching those kind of shoots?
I think it was like a nervous, like a positive anxiety. Like, you're just anxious to meet them and you don't know how to do it. Like butterflies, like browsers.com. But I'm joking. No, there was no casting couch. But no, it was cool, man. I think Neymar probably the first time, and then Beckham because it was a live show as well.
I feel like he's a legend.
Xabi Alonso.
Oh, really? What a gorgeous man!
Because he was like, I would
beautiful
say
man.
my
On and off the pitch.
favorite player.
Yeah.
In Liverpool and that
So definitely both
age.
of you got that kind of tie.
Because there's something about the way he played. He was so classy, the halfway line goals.
Yeah.
And he was just
beautiful.
Champions League final when
He's beautiful, really good looking.
All right,
And he's
forget it.
beautiful.
Shag him then.
I remember,
If I could.
sometimes you like, I was interviewing him and I was just like,
Getting lost in his eyes.
I was just like, what do I say next? I have had that. Where you're like,
Who's a person that you've been like starstruck by?
I think we've just got there, mate.
Yeah,
I think
probably
Xabi
Xabi
Alonso.
out of everyone,
Yeah.
just like
Got it up there, surely.
I feel like for
I don't
Liverpool.
know why, but he just
It's got to be
for me,
Liverpool
was
tie
Just
and
his
also
aura.
what it is.
it's all in presence.
something about him.
Yeah, I remember talking about that to Lawrence and Stephen because they interviewed him for XO, and you know what Stephen's like. He's like,
Liverpool fan
he's
still.
like, but dead confident jokes. But he even said when he met Xabi Alonso, he was just like dead quiet. Like,
Yeah.
Is he one of them people that just has that like kind of
I think
aura?
he has that presence of just calmness, and he was like that on the pitch as well. So I'd say
The
Xabi
composed
Alonso.
individual. Vujanic, I've got to ask a question, really. It's a bit off topic, but do you drive?
Yeah, I've got a license,
Oh,
but my car got taken off me at uni by the police.
Right, maybe not the
All right,
best
maybe-
owner.
Do you know what? If your car gets taken off you by the police, it's great to have an insurance company to
yeah.
like, you know. Just
I think
kinda-
that's a very good
The
angle to
issue
work
was
at.
that like my insurance, I believe.
Weren't good enough.
No, my dad's car didn't go through, but we got the receipt for it.
So you know what? The thing is, we actually have a perfect company that would never happen to.
No.
That kind of thing would
What
never
happened to
happen.
me? And then the police took the car, didn't they?
Exactly, but if you were with a lovely company called what are they called?
They're called Adrian Flux.
Adrian Flux.
It would never happen. So we've just got to do this, mate. Like Adrian Flux, thank you very much for sponsoring the podcast, but that's going to take into the integration.
Ah! What just happened, Charlie?
My airbag just smacked me in the face.
Oh, God, I hope you're with a really good car insurance policy.
Like who?
Adrian Flux!
Wow, I'm feeling better already. Who are they?
Adrian Flux are a car insurance company that specialise in young and learner drivers and offer policies such as black box policies which can significantly reduce your insurance cost.
Wow, I'm cured.
That is amazing. Do you know what the simplest thing is? What? All you need to do is click the top link in the description.
Is it that simple?
Yep, whether you're 17 years old learning to drive, whether you're even a year away, whether you've passed your test, or whether you're 57 years old, you can click the top line in the description and get a quote and see if it's better than other competitors. Look at that. A satisfied customer.
So satisfied.
Top link in the description. Go do it now. Bye-bye.
So once again, thank you very much to Adrian Flux for being the sponsors of this podcast. Without you, this podcast would not be possible. And you know what? Talking about what's possible, we've started to upgrade a few things around here, if you haven't noticed. We're wearing headphones. So we, for the first time, we can actually hear each other.
Yes.
So it might help a few things. So you know what? We're going to do something. I'm just going to start a little harmony.
Shout out Helen Keller.
Shout. Anyway. So yeah, welcome back.
Yeah, perfect. As Charlie Sloth would say.
Gangnam Style.
Yeah, so I thought that was a beautiful little bonding experience that we just
That
went
was a
through.
beautiful bonding experience, mate.
So what do we want to move on to right now? What topic are we talking about?
I want to ask
What are you guys thinking?
I'm asking about your podcast you've got with Poet. I really like. I've watched a few episodes of it. Some of the guests just get on mad. Like you said, Rio Ferdinand.
Yeah.
Like I want to know how do you get? I know you've been doing it for ages, but how do you like get linked up with these people?
We've met like all these people while we were at Copper 90.
Yeah.
And just like we got along with them. Just on the shoots, and that was it.
Well, you've got their phone number? Just ring
Yeah.
Who's the most famous contact you've got on your phone?
Oh yeah, I can.
Probably Rio, innit?
Yeah.
Rio,
Give him a little FaceTime.
Hector. Is Hector Bellerin more famous?
Bellerin.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets more current.
More current,
I wouldn't
yeah.
say he's more famous. I'd say Rio is definitely more
Probably
famous.
Rio.
Yeah, of course he is.
Hector Bellerin seems like such a sound guy.
He's so cool, man. That's my guy, man.
I've never seen a
Is that
guy
who you're trying to look like?
Nah, he's got short.
I've never seen a guy. I saw a video recently. I've never seen a guy that actually wears like an Arsenal or a football shirt tucked into jeans, but still look drippy. Like he looked fucking.
It's how you wear
sick.
it, isn't it?
For sure,
It's how
man.
you
He
wear it.
looked fucking cool, man.
And he's just
Kieran
about
Tierney does that.
Who?
Kieran Tierney.
Oh,
Tucks
Kieran
in his
Tierney.
Arsenal shirt.
Hector Bellerin's just started a YouTube channel as well. Have you watched the documentary he did?
The doc on his injury. Yeah. That was good.
Yeah. That's the one I'm talking about. It's like a day in the life kind of thing. Like you see a lot of footballers getting into the creator kind of thing now.
I find it quite funny his accent.
Yeah, it's
Was
like,
it Deco's?
No, it's like a London accent, but
He's
like,
got like a London
he's like what
slang.
I would not like be surprised if he was just like, "Yo, Wagwan, brother."
yeah, he does.
But he does. He picks it up, doesn't he?
Yeah, speak like that.
Yeah,
I think it's like, he plays at a London club.
yeah,
Obviously, very multicultural club as well. A lot of London boys there.
yeah.
Yeah. You pick up the dialect and the language.
Do you find yourself, like you said, like with Rio being like one of the biggest names you have necessarily in your phone, that offshoot that any of these relationships have ever like developed, like to not necessarily just a camera relationship, but like, you're right, how you doing? Like occasional text.
David
message.
James.
Oh,
Really?
David James.
That's my guy. Hector and David James are probably my throughout the football world who I've stayed in touch with and,
I love
and
David
I'm
James.
cool with. He's just a thinker. He's like
West Ham hero.
One of my favourite players as well because he had obviously the big afro goalkeeper. I was like, I love him.
he had the blonde hair at one time. Hey, David James was he was a bit swaggy.
Yeah,
Right?
Graham Souness would have hated David James.
Oh my god, yeah.
You've got to ask yourself, what's David James doing right now?
He's in goal. What did he have to do with the other defence? No, I used to love David James until I think it was a game against Portsmouth.
Love that guy.
And he just stood still for a goal. And I remember, I must have been 6 or 7. I don't know what the fuck I thought I was like some sort of pundit. But like, why are you sat there, stood there doing nothing? You know, when you get really angry at football, like, football was my life then. And I had a vendetta against him. But then I grew up and I was just like, you know what, you've been a bit of a fucking dick. He's a great goalkeeper for West Ham.
Did you have any footballers that he's hated growing up, but just for no fucking
Kevin
reason?
Nolan.
Yeah. For mine, it was Rio Ferdinand. I told him.
Oh, shit.
The first time on a shoot, I was like, bro, I used to hate you, man.
Zaka's Liverpool man.
Yeah, Liverpool United. And he'd always he's got that last minute goal against Liverpool once. I think it was a header or some shit.
Yeah, it would have been a header.
And I was like, you're just good, innit?
You're just good.
It's just you and Vidic. It was tough. But I didn't hate Vidic because he's Serbian. It was tough.
He gets the pass.
He gets the pass. But yeah.
That must have been a nice moment then when you met him for the first time, and you're like, you've got like a hatred, but it's not really a hatred.
It's not hatred, yeah. It's more like that football rivalry. But he was so cool that he's one of the guys, isn't it?
I've seen a podcast he recently done, which is with one of my favourite ever footballers, Ravel Morrison.
Yeah, Ravel's got a
Have you
mad
watched
story,
that?
hasn't he?
Have you watched that?
Nah, I haven't. I've seen little bits where
I saw
Ravel
clips.
kind of really talks openly about what.
It was really good.
You watched the whole thing, or most of
Yeah,
it?
my favourite part is when he calls out Zaha, because Zaha on a podcast, Zaha did a podcast recently said something about I don't know, he was like trying to act hard or something, and Ravel Morrison was like, yeah, Zaha's not hard. He's not about that life or something. It was just like really funny the way he said
But
it.
you know that Ravel's like when you joke about like drilling, Ravel Morrison probably has seen a few men get.
Yeah, Ravel Morrison said that the safest he ever was when he was at training.
Yeah. How mad is that though? Because as a West Ham fan, I remember where my seat was when I used to go with one of my family friends to the football. We were sat right next to the tunnel behind the subs bench. Unbelievable seat, like practically like pitch level. And it was during the Sam Allardyce era when we had players like Guy Demel and everything. You hear like Sam Allardyce like slaying like Joey O'Brien and all that kind of stuff. Just like, fuck, it's useless, all that kind of stuff. But then when Ravel Morrison was playing, like I remember it was that whole kind of era. But then in that podcast, Sam Allardyce was kind of like, I won't say called out, but like kind of like spoken about.
Yeah,
he knew there was a lot of dodgy stuff that was going on. But as a West Ham fan, Ravel Morrison was always disregarded as a player that just didn't have the professionalism to be able to carry on.
I don't.
You know?
I think it was that ball. So I think you can't like put yourself in his shoes because he has a lot of issues in his own life which may have stopped him from getting the training and stuff.
100%. But as a fan, from what we were like led to believe, we felt like it was Ravel Morrison's fault, which is why I thought it was so interesting seeing that podcast because he's talking about like he could be like chatting, like he could be saying whatever. It might not be necessarily true, but I really did believe like the conviction behind that, which I do really find so interesting. If you're going to tie it back into this, is like if you're going to be talking to football players and stuff and you get to know them a little bit off the pitch, how many things do actually go on behind the scenes?
So much, man.
Yeah.
It's mental.
Just think about your own life, how much you go through as a human being on
And
a
how many
daily
people,
basis.
like,
And
especially when you read comments online and you're like, you don't know me or what I go through. Imagine that on a 10-time scale, but all you've done is just play football. You've not actually done anything physically. You've just played football
and then
a
people
little bit
go
badly.
like, oh, but you're making money. Like you should be put up for everything. And it's like, I mean, money's cool, but at the end of the day, you are a human being.
Yeah, who was the footballer that came out like he's gay
Sol
with
Campbell.
depression? No,
Sorry.
the right mids.
Thomas
I know who
Hitzelsberger.
you're talking about.
We've talked about this on a podcast before. Everton, what's his name?
Was he a Liverpool player?
No, right mids, Everton player. I want to say.
Right mid Everton player.
No, I always get. Was it Aaron Lennon?
Oh no!
He did.
He
Yeah,
did.
Lennon said
He did.
something.
Was it Lennon?
Yeah,
I don't know if
Lennon.
it
But it was
was
someone
him
that
that we
lived-
were talking about, but there was.
What was his name? Right wing. Wisdom, didn't Andre Wisdom say something?
Was it Andre?
Not too sure.
There was.
I'm not
Might have
too
been
sure.
Lennon. I think Lennon did
But-
say he had to go through.
Regardless, there's a lot of footballers that do suffer from that, and people are like, "Oh, they make money." It's like, what? That
doesn't like.
fulfills maybe like freedom of some sort, but it doesn't make you happy whatsoever. It doesn't just cure depression.
Yeah, when you're talking about behind the scenes of football, what you saw, what's some things that you've saw where you've been like for people watching now that obviously the support team and stuff, like they won't necessarily see behind the scenes, what was quite some, like, don't say shocking, but things you're like, what the fuck? Is anything like that?
I wouldn't say there's anything shocking, but they are quite protected, I think, by the club and their PRs and their managers. It's almost like the footballers are actually quite cool, but I think there's so much bureaucracy in between the footballer and you that you go through like all these layers. By the time you get to the footballer, he's actually quite cool. But I think these images and ideas are created that they're all divas and weirdos.
Yeah,
and,
because you've had people like Andre Gray on the podcast, haven't you?
yeah, he's a cool guy.
Like
man.
from an outside, when you look at Andre Gray, just the way he plays and everything, you think he'd be like a proper mean bastard, wouldn't you? But what's he like?
Chill.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
but they don't get portrayed
Chill,
that way,
dude.
do they? Do you know what I mean? A lot of players.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the media is the media, isn't it? In terms of the mainstream, they've got their agendas and the clickbait titles and what they do to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Sometimes with like PR and stuff, you have to create some sort of image, like that if every footballer who had some sort of notoriety, it was going to be accessible, it would kind of take away the allure for that kind of thing.
True.
You want to create like some sort of image behind like a hero figure, that if, say for example, one football player was like the best footballer in the world. Like imagine, say for example, like Mbappe. If Mbappe was on Happy Hour, Antisocial, and everything, whilst that would be incredible. So Mbappe, if you're watching, but come join us. And he was doing everything all around the gaff. It would make him less desirable. If you get what I mean.
True.
But I feel like it's interesting to know like what players are like. Like,
I think that's why
in the
people are
flesh.
fans of people though, because it's like it's the same with musical artists, like artists. It's like you don't know much about them, so it's like it's
You
really
want that
exciting.
content.
Like
It's
if you
quite
met a
disappointing.
YouTuber, you like
Because they are.
like if you met a
genuinely, like, normal
YouTuber,
people.
Yeah.
if you met a YouTuber, you feel like you know them because you see everything about them. Whereas someone that's like a musician or an actor, you don't know them, so it's like just meeting them is like quite like interesting. You know what I mean?
I think celebrity is quite a fascinating thing, isn't it?
Yeah, because like for example, if you met Charlie Roxburgh, you'd probably understand what he's like talking about wanking on a podcast. But if you met Harry Styles, you don't know what he'd be like.
I reckon we could get a good wanking topic conversation out of Harry Styles.
Should we
you
get
know?
Rio Ferdinand on the podcast and ask him where the weirdest place he's had a wank is? That's probably what we'd do. It probably somehow we'd get someone like
Upton Park?
we'd somehow get someone like Ronaldinho on, and we'd
What,
still
Anton's helping him in the corner.
we'd somehow get on some amazing footballer like Ronaldo, and we'd still manage to ask him something about wanking within the first 10 minutes.
I have a feeling that this is not the best way to sell ourselves. You know, like,
We would ask him a very deep conversation where we
Yeah.
tap into his life.
yes, that's what
Yeah.
we're going for. So
Yeah.
let's maybe move away from
Yeah,
what
yeah.
other people that we want to go. I feel like there's
Yeah, so with the going back to interviewing footballers, face.
like, what just happened.
Going back to interviewing footballers, with you and Poet, what's the kind of thing you try and get out of it? So let's say you've got like a Rio on, you've got like an Andre Gray. Are you wanting, from a viewer's perspective, are you wanting to get like the human aspect of the person out?
Yeah.
Are you trying to? Is that kind of?
It was always that. It was always like, let's try and make an entertaining moment, perhaps something where we could get them to do something which a normal interview won't do on the TV.
Because you were going against like the grain.
Yeah, because we sort of early Copper 90 days and those days, footballers still weren't really appearing on YouTube shows or podcasts. It was still quite traditional media-esque. And I think we obviously had Soccer AM. That was probably one of the places. But we sort of, when I think the online world, were one of the first who were trying to do something a little bit different. And that was always the thing, is like, let's try and make them appear human because we know they're human. And let's try and get them to show their personality a bit more.
And did you
that
find
was-
it difficult?
There are moments where it is tough. It can be tough, but
Because the media are trained and everything.
yeah, they
aren't
are. And you have people there that, behind camera, if you say something a bit off, they're like,
But then you might end up meeting a footballer, then you do realise they are literally just boring people in real life as well. Let's not pretend
There has
everyone
been a few
is
of
like
those.
a fucking everyone's not a massive personality.
yeah, true.
vibing.
Now, sometimes you will have one of those, and then that's it. That's just how they are,
You know, one footballer where you always would assume would be like really boring. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna say
yeah.
like, all right, boring Milner. Like, but
James
he's
Milner,
actually
so funny.
so funny.
That's what we did when we interviewed him. I was like, so you've got
You've
the
interviewed
whole-
Milner?
ages ago, yeah.
Ah, was
Free
that
for
Liverpool?
and chill. Yeah,
Liverpool Milner?
Liverpool. Yeah. And I was like, you've got the meme, you're the boring Milner. Like, are you that boring? And then we like, did little things of how boring he is. And,
Yeah,
But he played
really
into
owns
it.
it.
and-
Yeah.
and he was just like, oh, yeah.
Well, it's on social media where he's like just counting me Lego blocks.
Trust me.
You know, like little
I-
things
I
like that.
love
Yeah,
that.
his
It's
first
so
ever
funny.
tweet was like, just finished the ironing. It sounds like an ironing board.
I have noticed as well, actually. So, like with footballers right now, especially with the age gap with like footballers usually from coming through to like being in their prime. So, say for example, you've got footballers who are now currently in their 20s, like early 20s, like 21, 22. Those are actually the people who grew up watching a lot of the people who are currently in the scene. So, Declan Rice used to text Ethan like a fair bit. Still might do, don't know, but he used to obviously like a big Sidemen fan kind of thing. Like he used to like, honestly, I wouldn't say big Sidemen fan, but he used to watch their content kind of stuff.
It's Mason Mount, isn't it?
Yes, precisely. But it's like, imagine like that kind of like crossover, like where we still like look at them as professional football players, but they feel like they've kind of like grown up a little bit watching some of these people. That's mental.
That's the thing with your content that you did with Copper 90. Like, if you're inspiring a footballer, you're going to watch an interview with Neymar.
For sure.
Especially if he's coming more human. So, like, the amount of footballers that probably grew up watching you and Poet doing
I
that
don't
kind
know.
of...
I have no clue. Maybe. Do you know what I mean?
Mbappe is just there, it's just playing FIFA and have a nice merch.
You'll probably that'll be so sick. You'll probably like notice like the fruits of like the work that you've been doing over the next couple of years if you like manage to get yourself back to doing that kind of content. If you know what I mean? There definitely would have like there would have been some players which would 100% know. I can guarantee you that if like Declan Rice is like he loves SE Dons, he's watched Simon stuff. He's definitely going to see some of the stuff that you've done with footballers,
bro,
which I find absurd. That's literally West Ham's captain.
It's mad.
How mad is that?
Was he captain now?
Noble's club captain, but doesn't play. So Declan Rice is.
I thought he was just getting Kaplan for like a couple of games or something.
No,
but
he's played every game this season.
How
He's
was
captain.
Declan Rice?
I think he's like 20.
Oh wow!
Really? Younger than me?
Young, bro.
Yeah, but that's what I find absurd. I'm 24, going 25, and like, what am I doing? I could play Sunday League and hurt my hip.
Yeah, bro.
The hell?
You can also look at other 24-year-olds that are doing nothing.
Yeah, I mean, there is that. Yeah, but you look at like professional footballer. Like, it could have been me
Live
if
the
it wasn't
life.
for the fact that I'm shit at football.
Well, on the topic before of football content, what's your kind of take on football content on YouTube now? Because obviously when you started, kind of one of the first people to be doing it was Copper 90. Now you've got Sky Sports doing all this kind of stuff. You've got it's just everyone seems to be doing something.
There's a lot.
Yeah, what's your take on it now? Do you feel like saturated?
In some essence, yeah. I think it's cool. Once again, like people are doing their thing and expressing what they love, and that's what I like to do as well. For me, I guess I enjoy football in a different way. So I would say I don't watch a lot of it. I don't really connect with a lot of it. Like, this is something I really want to watch. Sometimes I'll catch up with like Arsenal Fan TV. That'll be like an entertaining view.
Yeah, that's just pure entertainment.
Just to make you feel happier.
No, just have a little laugh,
You
but
friends
so-
with any of them boys?
yeah, I'm cool with all of them. Like I would say like
You're a man of the
friends, but
people within the football community, innit?
I'm just kind of cool with everyone.
Yeah,
I don't really.
No beef, no drama,
Nah,
straight
man.
love, good vibes.
No.
Have a nice.
At the end of the day, like everyone's just doing their own thing. Even if someone doesn't like their thing or whatever, I just feel like everyone's got the right to do their own thing. It doesn't really impact my life, so do your thing.
But straight, if you're going to talk about like good vibes and positivity and stuff, like, and even talking about football, like I've played with you once in Baku.
How was he?
Do you want to talk about? You're like a giraffe on the pitch. You just
I'm a bit of a giraffe.
Just
I'm
roam
he's a
a
around.
bit of like a mullah, like
Yeah,
just a bit lanky.
you're just-
Attacking
out
position
here.
though.
I like it. To be
does
fair,
like
I'm a
that.
goalkeeper, but
You're a goalkeeper?
I had enough.
Yeah, you just wanted to roam.
I had enough of being a goalkeeper.
That was
wanna
me when I
ask
was
you-
younger.
Okay, anger issues though. That's
I'd play in goals and I'd have anger issues, so they'd sub me outfield. Go
I
on.
hated it, bro. What are you going to
It's
say?
true. I want to ask you about that. Are you playing a bit of Sunday League, right?
I play 8-a-side. Not haven't like elevated to Sunday League yet.
Okay, so what's the story behind Grenfell Athletic?
Just the guy sent me the shirt. The guys that run, I think, the club. And yeah, man, obviously they've got a club. I think
supporting it.
the money goes to the charity. A lot of the money goes to charity. And yeah, man, obviously disastrous what happened at Grenfell. Probably one of the worst. I'd say worst. Yeah, one of the most painful things I've seen, experienced. I went there the morning after, and yeah, it was.
Where is
I don't even have a word for it. Really,
where is Grenfell in London compared to
West London, well, the richest borough in
Is
London.
it northwest?
Potentially the
like,
UK.
Not like northwest.
No,
but
west.
It's north of the river.
North of the river, West London,
Yes, West
Kensington and Chelsea borough. Yeah, everybody knows what happened with Grenfell, and
I kind of wanted to talk to you about that because there's the whole Grenfell situation that happened, but I felt like within our kind of like age group, I'm gonna like these boys. You're like what 21, 22. Myself being 24, yourself being 28. I'd say this is kind of like our generation kind of thing between like from there, maybe like from your age to like age 18 currently right now. Where you became a lot more politically involved, but not like political. So you had like an interview kind of thing, encouraging. I think it was during the whole time you were encouraging people to vote. But this was like whole like Grenfell and post Grenfell era. You had an opportunity with Corbyn, right?
I interviewed Corbyn twice. Once was when he was going up in the first election. I felt like at that time his message resonated with me. It seemed like he was he's like an anti-war guy. Social justice elements are quite important to him. Sort of that part of politics I always kind of connected with. I studied international relations, so that's like up a very political degree.
okay.
I have quite a political background in terms of the Civil War, etc. So at that time, I did connect, and I really wanted to talk to him. I did. It was a really cool interview. But obviously, Grenfell happened as well. It was just such a chaotic time in my life. A lot of emotional things that I was going through that were kind of manifesting in the physical world as well. And then the second time I interviewed him, I didn't connect as much,
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I just think politics is politics, and I think it's a bit of a game in general.
What was the difference between the two?
I don't know. The first time I was following my intuition, and I felt like it was the right thing to do from my. This is for me. Like, I really want to speak to this guy, see what he's about. I think the second time I did it more from a perspective of maybe I should do this. Like, it's a cool opportunity to do.
Yeah.
and it wasn't like a pure
Like a burning thing to
intention.
do it.
Yeah.
Your heart wasn't there.
What was the
It
first,
wasn't as in it. Yeah.
What was the first one? Because what I'm thinking of your interview with Corbyn's when you sat on the field and you both had the campuses.
Yes.
The first or the second time?
That was the first time.
Okay,
That one I
because
really
I
wanted
watched
to
that and
him.
I
Yeah.
really, really enjoyed that. In fact, that interview is what kind of inspired me to say to the boys, I kind of want to get Keir Starmer on the podcast close to election time. And I know that Keir Starmer is a very different individual to what Jeremy Corbyn is, but I still
He is,
feel
yes.
there's definitely like that kind of. I found it quite inspiring that there's a crossover between like politics,
YouTube,
to,
football.
exactly,
Yeah.
but also to try and encourage like your demographic and audience to
Yeah,
actually go out and make a change.
Honestly, like before that, I voted once in my life.
Mm-hmm.
That was another time I voted, and since then I haven't voted again.
Why? Were you disappointed by like the outcome? You felt like you
I
put
was
a lot into it.
disappointed by the outcome. I think it's hard to like put these things, I think, into words fully.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try. I think I saw the complexities of politics and also an element of how much our human psyche, it can't be put into a two-party system. I think we
agree
need to
completely.
evolve past that system.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I saw once, Corbyn, became the leader of the Labour Party, how things started to kind of go against him and the in-party fighting. And it seems that people weren't able to see the bigger message, the bigger picture. And politics is quite a dirty game. And
Politics is so dirty.
and even like
considering-
after my second interview with him, I had like my old tweets come up.
Yeah,
Really?
did-
Really?
Yeah, I had like people writing about me that I was like anti-Semitic myself. And don't get me wrong, like growing up as like on YouTube and on like social media.
I think like, don't get me wrong, I hate the Jews, but I mean, like,
No, I mean, it was just like when I grew up, and especially the culture I'm from in terms of inner city London, we grew up in like a very, I was like quite it's toxic, but it's a bit of like a,
just straight banter.
it's the
Especially-
banter is, and we were just like going.
And especially, you're part of the early YouTube days, because we've seen what the early YouTube days, how toxic it was.
Mad. It was
we
mad.
all know the reason why KSI
Yeah.
got his first bit of notoriety.
It was, that
different
was,
time.
I think that was a different time, and it was almost like how offensive can you be, etc. Obviously, like I've developed as a human being, but it was interesting to like just experience that, and like I lost a few jobs because of the tweets.
Yeah,
And
I
I
was,
like, whoa,
I was going to
that's
say, do you worry about kind of endorsing your thoughts politically because
Well,
of
that's-
your audience and stuff?
because what I'm saying is like then I felt like it was organic and
Yeah.
authentic. So I said, you know what, this feels authentic. I think Corbyn's the guy. The second time I met him, it felt like I was speaking to a politician.
Really, I
And
know
I
that
was
the
like, and
first
that's
one.
nothing against him. He's in the game of politics, and I think I just started to understand the game of politics perhaps a bit more. And that is
Yeah.
nothing against Jezza or whoever's in the party,
First name's basis.
but I just don't. These people. There's things happening behind the scenes, and I just think we as human beings have evolved past that system, and I can't. If I don't feel it's authentic to me or organic, I can't now tell you like, oh, go vote. You can change things, because I don't
agree.
think it massively changes things until we start changing ourselves.
Yeah, I totally agree. When I don't vote because I don't feel like every single anything I do, whether I vote that way, nothing really will change. Yeah, there might be one or two things, but I don't feel like I have much of an impact, and I don't feel like if the person I vote for, they can really change things in 3-4 year term.
I think
It's not
I think
necessarily-
that's not. I mean, that's fair enough. Do you want to say
I
something?
was going to say I don't think that's the right way to look at things, because
Me
that's
neither.
like that's looking at your life. You need to look at the bigger picture in terms
Yeah.
of not only people around you, but because we're in a good position. Realistically, with our jobs, it's not going to affect much. But you're talking about people that have got. I worked a job for £3.70 an hour. If you elected the right people that want to implement a higher minimum working wage, stuff like that can really fucking change somebody's life.
I completely
It
agree.
can. I think politics can change, and it does have an effect. And I think it's tough to like. It's a weird world we live in, isn't it?
I agree. Like, I'm kind of like impartial because I agree with what you're saying. Like when you start to like analyze, we spoke about it briefly on our podcast, just between the three of us. But I think when you look at politics and stuff, it's very easy to kind of like get too involved and try and judge a lot of things which are going off of what other people's parties are saying. And then like your attitude that you just had there is, I don't see like my vote will make a change, or I don't believe that one party will be able to implement the change like that. But like Lewis is saying, and I completely agree, is that when you try and look at the bigger picture, is that if you are voting for your constituency, like your local area, that even if it's on a small scale, might be able to change something. and that's what you've got to take care of, like your political beliefs that you have. That if you actually do want to have that change, I feel like I agree with you saying like we're beyond the point of two parties.
I think it's broke. I just think that it's a broken system.
I agree completely.
And
I don't believe that Labour or Conservatives are either like the right way to go.
I don't think
SMB.
And this is exactly how last podcast went.
I think it's a reflection of our psyche as individuals, as humans. Like we have to perhaps start questioning much more, who we are, our identities, our emotional triggers. Because that's what politicians are very good at.
You know what's so hard is like whilst I completely agree with you, like I don't think that not voting is the right answer. Like I don't think it is. However, how can you evoke that change? Because there definitely needs to be change. Well,
I don't have the answers.
Neither do I, mate. Just a question, a general question. I'm just like I don't.
I get what you mean.
I agree. Like I think that you should vote. But who should you vote for, Like, if I don't agree with whether that is.
I feel like
I don't know.
where I'm from, it's very black and white who to vote for. Like, I feel like you see every single election, 90% of Scotland votes SNP because we just don't agree with the South whatsoever. It's a bit weird. It's like when you bring your little brother along to play and, like, you don't get to decide. You're like, Mum, can we go there? And she's like, nope. It's like, oh, okay.
It's interesting, isn't it? But yeah, two-party system. I think someone I do enjoy watching a lot is Russell Brand.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
He sort of went down, I think, I had almost like a similar journey to him where he was quite political. And then he interviewed, I think, who was that guy? He interviewed a politician before the election, Miliband, and he was like, vote Labour. Yeah. And then, like, I think later on he was like, oh, shit. Because before he was like, don't vote. And then he was like, vote Labour. And then afterwards, I feel like now he's at a different place.
He's just a hippie now. Like,
he's
spiritual
a hippie.
journey.
Bro, like that guy probably eats shrooms for breakfast.
Slowly going that direction.
Shrooms for breakfast, yeah.
Not shrooms for breakfast, but meditation, yes, but shrooms, no.
He's definitely like...
You ever done shrooms?
Nah, bro. No.
I feel like the divorce with Katy Perry definitely sent that man
sideways. That
looks like...
I saw some Katy Perry video recently where she's like in her baby's room or something, and she's making really weird noise. It was a bit bizarre.
What?
No, like
what video was this?
Her baby hasn't been born yet, but she was just like filming herself, and she was like, she was doing our noise. You need to see it. But shout out Katy Perry, man.
Shout out Katy Perry. California Girls.
She was my
what a video.
She was my childhood crush.
Was she?
Oh, I was obsessed with her.
I did like the
her and Rihanna
with cream everywhere. That was great.
Incredible.
Wow. So I think to obviously not to get too involved in political talk because that can divide opinions. I was just wondering, is that something where you want to like now avoid the topic of like, as in like for content production?
I'm happy to speak about things, but I just.
But why get involved with politicians like the whole Corbyn?
No. Politicians, no, not for me. But it was sort of like my life journey was like, it was whether YouTube, being funny, being a troll, whatever, to like football, to like let me get some attention, and football, and then it was like social, political, because that was a big part of my journey. And I think now I'm on a journey more of psychological and philosophical and perhaps spiritual, because I think as humans that this is what we are as humans, is beyond our skin and genitals and whatever we are.
Genitals
energy,
are important, but
we
not
are
everything.
Yeah, they're important, they create life, but we are more we're spiritual beings. And I think we live in a world which doesn't really promote that. And I think politics, in its essence, is something which is very far away from ourselves as who we are as human beings.
Yeah, it's very like systematic,
divisive. You did this, you did that. What did you do? And when you watch if you watch Parliament, when they just shout at each other, and I'm like, these guys run our country.
Do you know what I hate?
Really?
Do you know the laughs to do? It's like,
and then you go like even to this day, like obviously. After what happened with Grenfell, is like people still haven't been rehoused. No one's been put to the.
It's a joke.
It shows you
it's a joke.
It really is it's almost like in a way like London's Hillsborough, I'd say, in terms of the impact that it had on people.
Have you felt like with the whole Grenfell thing that did obviously occur? Did you feel like an obligation to community? Like
I think I did. I went to there's a Serbian church around the corner, so I used to go there like Sunday school every week. And when I came to London, I lived in West London, so maybe like 10 minutes away from Ladbroke Grove. So yeah, it just felt like this is a part of me. Like I could have been one of those people because I was living in council flats when I was younger, and the council were moving me and my family around, and you're just trying to make it work. So I think I felt like a real deep identification with what had happened, because this is how I grew up, and it could have been me, it could have been a friend, it could have been someone I knew, and I think this is why it really did deeply connect with me, and also obviously hurt to see what had happened. And but it just made me, it made me ask some other questions and self-reflection. And as much as sometimes you want to change the world and the systems, it was like I did feel a bit defeated for sure. But it has led to some other questions that I've been trying to ask myself in this world. And yeah, man, it's I guess
you can you see how like sometimes you feel like you have the most power in the world, but you seen it last year with the Black Lives Matter stuff after the whole George Floyd situation. Mental, yet still people weren't doing enough. Like the people high ups, it's crazy that you can still make as much noise as possible and not be heard by the government just because they choose not to.
Yeah, it's hard, and I think maybe somewhere beyond all that is there is an element of where we have to get in touch with our psyche, our spiritual selves, and it sounds a bit airy-fairy, I know.
You keep saying this word psyche. What is that? I've never heard that word before.
I don't even know what the definition of psyche is, but I think it's how you think, it's how you express who you are, it's how you self-reflect, it's your perception of the world. And as long as we are in this sort of like 3D material reality, and we don't have insights into more than that, you talked about DMT earlier, but if you, let's say, meditate, if you exercise, you get those feelings that you're more than just this body.
Yeah, I'd like to get into the whole spiritual side because I want to know what ticked that. But first of all, before we move away from politics, the only last thing I want to ask is, I did watch a video with you and Miss Katie Hopkins.
Yeah, there you go.
How was perfectly political.
Is she just as a cunt off camera?
No, off camera she was very friendly, and that was confusing to me.
Oh, really?
What, it's all an act?
But
I think she's just the best troll that's ever existed.
Do you think she's
I'm not gonna lie.
But this is what I mean about like politics. It fascinates me personally, and I think it goes into a psychological element where it's what is it? Because with her, I was a bit angry before I met her, and I was a bit like I felt like a boiling energy up in me, and I was just trying to observe myself. And I've told this story before, but it's like I started asking myself like, why do I feel that? And I was like, who is she to make me feel this level of like anger and whatever? And then I tried to keep that in check when I was talking to her. And then afterwards, I was like, she was like, hey, yo, David, so when did you come to the UK?
Get out!
I didn't feel, I was like, wow, she's played me.
Yeah.
That's how I felt like. And then I just started asking questions myself, like, who else do I let play me? What is it in me?
You have a lot of introspective moments. Do you know that, David?
Yeah, that was happening then. And that was possibly also part of my journey.
So you're saying she's very friendly off camera. Do you think it's an act for the camera, or do you think she just exaggerates?
I think she knows what she's doing. Yeah.
But then, for example, on Josh Peters' video, when he trolled Katie Hopkins,
that was a funny video.
But you seen the off-camera footage where she is saying some awful fucking shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Like she doesn't think she's being recorded. She's saying some fucking awful shit. So clearly there is an implementation.
She obviously has something going on in her brain. It's not someone that I am a fan of or particularly care about. But also, I'm not angry at her anymore.
Well, she got her Twitter account suspended, so that was a happy day for everyone.
So it makes her one
just
more toxic person down.
I like to think like, what do I do or what do we do as people to validify these people? Because if we give attention to it,
of course, this is what I find the most absurd thing. Like people just die, like they literally go die hard. They really want to prove a point.
Silly.
Yeah, of course they are. But that makes someone who actually has half a brain cell, i.e., Katie Hopkins, is clearly an intelligent person. But whilst you might not
uses
agree
it in a different way,
bro, like if you're a troll, let's take it down to the very, very like basis of being a troll. If you're a troll and you're trolling like a content creator or a celebrity,
you want a reaction,
but you want a reaction and you get a rise out of it, they continue. If you ignore it, they fuck off. The thing is, if you then apply troll persona to someone who is politics and also brains, it is the mega troll of politics. That then you can then get yourself on national TV, say whatever the fuck you want, and know that whatever you're going to say is going to get a reaction.
It's like how Trump came to power, isn't it?
Bro,
he knew how to do certain things.
And obviously people were talking about it because they're like, what, a billionaire is going to become president? What, next joke? And not exactly that this person is comparable to Trump or Katie Hopkins, but Jake Paul is someone who's very good at just getting under people's skins, whether you like him or
But
hate
you know
him.
what?
He's
Jake Paul
so
for
You
president.
know what? I think that shows more about the people that are watching him than him.
they'll just tap into.
He's tapping into something which we're not aware of, and
It's
it's about
anger.
us becoming aware of
It's-
why we're angry.
But no, it's tapping into anger. You get
So that means there is a anger which is present
for
in
sure.
all humans on a level which they're not aware of.
But when Barack Obama came to power, it was the first black president. Yeah. Now, I'm not one to like socially analyze the whole of American culture, as I clearly am not well versed enough. But there was a clear reason how Trump got to power. Because if I personally believe that if there were just white people running before, like if Barack Obama never came to power, it was a white
it
president.
wouldn't have been Trump.
I don't think it. I mean, it might not have been. It was make America great again after
Yeah,
like a period of time of
yeah,
Barack
yeah.
Obama. It was about moving from blue to red. It was about changing political.
It's like Brexit here as well. And,
for
But I'd
sure.
say they know how, that is politics. It is
Oh,
a
it
bit
is,
of
but
a-
it is politics, man. But it's absurd, and also like we touched on this a little bit in the last podcast about how social media is such an echo chamber amongst
crazy. That's
'Cause
one thing
when
I've
we're doing
realized
that
as
whole
well is
Corbyn stuff.
the echo chambers.
Yeah.
It's like I'm more of a liberal
Mm-hmm.
leaning person. I'm not just left. I'm also perhaps in some ways I'm conservative, and I mean that's it as well. Is like we as humans flow with who we
fluid,
are,
man.
and we're not just. I feel like sometimes with politics it puts you into one bubble, and it's like if you're a conservative, you're just a conservative, and if
red or
you're
blue. That's
liberal, if you step out, you're a little, and it's just like, why did you say? How did you?
You sound like your House of Commons.
It's like, exactly. And I think, we will eventually have to evolve past that because where are we going with it, And it's interesting.
I wonder if there will be a dramatic change in it, because obviously seen it when this whole systematic comes into play. I wonder if there'll be anything that will just break this down. Cause
You know what you should watch, guys? You might.
what should we
enjoy.
watch, David Vujanic?
I think one thing you'd enjoy.
You butchered
Adam Curtis's. It's a documentary on BBC Three, 6-part series. Filmmakers called Adam Curtis, and it's called "I Can't Get You Out of My Head."
Isn't that
It is, but it is an incredible piece of work, filmmaking. Talks about politics, but also talks about psychology. It talks about how we got to where we are now. Historically analyzes society in many ways, and it's fascinating.
It's
So
because
I
I'm kind of in
recommend
the
it.
same what you were mentioning earlier, where it's like, do I need to care about this, or do I need to literally just work on myself and focus on myself instead of the bigger picture with the whole politics side of things?
I don't know. I think everybody has their own journey, and there is no right or wrong way. You're on your own journey, aren't you? I think that's what I try to do now is like not judge whoever, even if they are Tory, whatever. Like let them. I'm like that's their journey. I don't want to be fighting my whole life, And I think
Or just be chill, love.
I love
Live, love, love.
chilling, but also psychologically there is I think there's a guy called Jung, and he talks about the shadow side of we all as humans have like a shadow side,
darker side.
which is our darker side, and it's about not ignoring that. It's about embracing the moments which
Embrace
are
your
potentially
darkness.
harder.
Sounds like Batman.
A little bit, but it's about integrating
Venom.
it and being aware,
darkness
being
will
aware
take
of your own darkness and
dark
also
traits.
what you see in others tends to be what
I think
you
that's
have
what,
in yourself.
I think
and
that's what I always like.
an interesting concept.
I think that's what attracted me to you in the first place. Where when you just get to know someone, it's about how introspective that you are and how you analyze what it is that your thought process. You even said it in this podcast, but I knew it already from previous conversations that we have had. It's about trying to take maybe the negative, something which someone might perceive as a negative happening to them, trying to turn it into a positive, trying to take your experiences and trying to turn it into something which is quite. How can you learn from it?
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Can I just ask, we've spoken about the whole girls thing that's happened and how there was a point in time where everything changed. Is there a way that you can maybe tell us or the audience how there's a point maybe that you can go back to where you just kind of changed your mindset to try and see more spiritual? I don't really know. You obviously clearly weren't always so introspective.
I mean,
what was the mindset change?
I think before I was much more interested in the world. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot more outer interest.
And you were
external.
ignoring yourself, you were ignoring your baggage.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely. A bag of energy, just going mad everywhere. That was me, just sort of complete ADHD at all the parties, whining on with a girl and then
There's still nothing wrong with that.
Carnival. Nothing wrong with it.
When Carnival's back, bro.
I had a great
Carnival's
time.
back.
Still I might do that at times now. But
Yeah,
from
of
a
course,
karma
of course.
perspective,
A karma wine.
karma wine,
Calm wine,
not
yeah.
so mad.
Calm wine at Carnival.
But I think it flipped to more like internal, like, oh shit, why do I do that? What is it that makes me feel like this? And that's a bit more of a longer journey, I'd say. It's not like an instant change. And I think I was at a stage where mentally I was just struggling quite a lot. And I was just like, fuck, bruv, I feel pretty dead right now. This feels shit. So there's something needs to shift, and because I can't go lower than this. It's like, what? Am I ever going to like what? You can take your life, or you can carry on trying to
do you
live.
not feel like that's the times that it kind of changes when you're like
It's
by
true.
yourself and you're alone with your own thoughts and you start to analyse things and your actions and things like that?
For sure.
Especially in the last year, I feel like a lot of people are going to be like that now.
I was lucky, perhaps, that, that's what I say, look, I say lucky. It probably wasn't lucky. It is what it is, but that perhaps I started that journey 2017, 18. So when lockdown has happened, it has been difficult, and I've struggled at times, and frustrations and anxieties, etc., feeling a bit down. But I started to realize, like, this is just an experience. This is going to pass. Tomorrow I might have a decent day. Tomorrow might be a little bit better. It might be worse, but it's okay because there's always the light at the end of the tunnel. That light could be a train, some say philosophically. It is what it is.
Fucking hell. Just Jesus Christ.
But
there's
it
a
is
light.
all, but it is all perspective, isn't it? It's like how you flip your perspective to view a situation and where that then leads you in your life. For me, at times, it's a bit difficult. I have a lot of...
So what personality defects, many of them, but what was it that made you, like, for example, I know for me to work on myself, it was definitely my anger issues that made me just be like, I think it was kind of what you were saying when you take a step back and you're like, wait, why am I getting so angry? It was kind of when I was probably about 14, 15 and I'd have this uncontrollable temper and I was losing friends left, right and centre and I was like, wait, why am I letting this? Yeah. So then I think that's when I took a stage to work on myself, and I kind of probably ignored it until later years.
Were you like Bruce Banner?
I was. People, I never got bullied. But my mates knew how to push my buttons because they knew that I had a temper that if they knew to push it, I would go fucking mental. So I think that's what came to the stage where I lost like so many friends in a week, and I was like.
And the thing is, Lewis has now like taken that in his own life, and he actually likes to do it to other people.
So now you play with them.
Yeah. So now does to anyone else.
I like to torture other people to make me happy, but in a friendly way. Just little things like switch off Charlie's toilet light when he's in the toilet
every time, bruv. I'm just brushing my teeth, having a piss, having shit, whatever it is. He just comes in. He's got.
But you were saying for people, what like I don't have any like real, I'd say, advice, but I think it's just accepting that there are going to be moments which are not going to be easy. Taking a moment to breathe, perhaps, just look at your thoughts and let them be there. And even if they're the maddest thoughts, it's okay. Like, accept yourself for who you are and, work on yourself slowly. And I think then you start perhaps seeing a better environment and eventually a better world.
I think it's really, really nice to nice and refreshing to hear, like,
positivity.
It's positivity, but it's also like a little bit of wisdom. Like, I do associate you with being quite like a wise character.
Shag him then.
Right? Just like this. It's just a wholesome moment. But no, like, I feel like shout out homosexual. Where, like, in all honesty, like,
I love the homies.
Yeah, I love the homies.
I love the homies. Shout out the homies.
Yeah, I love that.
We are homosexual.
Anyway, you well, like I said, when I first met you, you were, I don't remember what book it is, but you're quite well read.
So.
I'd say you're quite well read. Like, there's definitely I can't remember what it was. You literally said you need to read this book, and I wish
it wasn't Power of Now, was it?
It could have been.
I've got that right next. It's literally in my little satchel.
Love a bit of Power of Now. Eckhart Tolle, good book. Just once again putting stuff into perspective.
So I'm reading that book at the moment. I don't know how many pages I'm in, 20 or 30. Yeah. Sometimes I'm going, you know what?
I'm well versed.
Sometimes I go, you know what? This is making a lot of sense. It's going to change my life. And sometimes I go, are they just talking loads of shit? Like, are they just saying the first thing that comes to their mind? Like, you need to tune into the 1000th dial of yourself to understand. It's like, are they just really smart? Are they just talking so much shit that I'm like, yeah.
It's just big words.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
I don't know. I think different strokes for different folks, depending on where you're at in your life or whatever. But I don't know, bruv. I think also allow yourself to make mistakes as well, because we live in like quite a perfection-seeking world as well. Like,
Especially
expect
social
too
media.
much. Like,
Can't make a mistake.
bro.
Can't make a single mistake.
It's tough, man. I think we need to be a bit more kind to ourselves, first of all, and then we'll be able to be kind to other people as well, a bit more. Yeah, man, it's mad, isn't it?
Mad, innit?
Well,
That's your quote on your
Yeah,
grave.
man.
It's mad, innit?
It's mad.
It's mad, innit?
Vuj, it was mad, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very mad. Have a nice.
I feel like it might be a good place for us to round it off just for that.
Yes, I do. Some people might have been really tuned in. Some people might have just switched off and we just
Like,
started talking about
what the
politics.
They're just using big words, man.
Just zoning out. I want to say thank you very much, Vuj, for joining us on the
appreciate
podcast
that.
today.
Yeah, we appreciate
worries,
it.
lads.
We are going to be heading over to the audio-only version of this podcast.
Yeah,
which,
but we
where
do
can
another hour and a
find-
half.
It's not another hour. It's probably a few questions. It's not that long.
Oh, so now it goes to the audio.
So
only.
now we do a bit audio only. But Cam, if you want to sign us out, where can people who are watching right now find Vuj?
Find Vuj.
Where can you find Vuj? Like,
Oh, right, I thought you were
where's
gonna say-
Wally?
He's right here.
Yeah, right. Where's Wally? We found him. Mate, would you want to plug anything that's going on?
Fucking-
Copenhagen.
Shout out
Shout out to my ex, Copenhagen. Obviously, Poet and Vuj channel. I've got my own YouTube where I upload like once every 10 years.
Nice.
That's just
Is he consistent every 10 years?
at least exactly.
Yeah.
Dave Vujanic and my Instagram, D Vujanic, Twitter, David Vujanic.
All right.
Fuck
Fucking hell, do you want to
you.
plug
Fucking
anything
hell.
else?
Anything else?
All right, Roald Dahl, where's the fucking novel?
Shout out to my granddad, my grandma. Do you know what I mean?
Fucking plug your Bebo page while we're at it.
Shout out to
Bieber,
people.
shout out Bieber.
Shout out to Gmail.
Gmail, we love Gmail.
Ask Jeeves.
Randy
Ask
Williams.
Jeeves,
Guy.
he'll tell you the answer.
What a throwback.
Yahoo.
Love Jeeves.
Yahoo.com. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, that's it really. And have a nice .world. That's the merch.
Have a nice .world, I think, is probably the most important because you've got some stuff that you'll be dropping on there soon.
Yeah,
right?
I've got that meme.
Everything important. You should listen to every shout out that they just got me.
Buy some stuff so I can survive in this matrix. Do you know what I mean?
See, I really wish that we spoke a bit about
so
the
I
Matrix.
can pay rent. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit.
Yeah, oh shit!
Shit, so I can finally go to Bali and live like a hippie.
That's actually the dream, you know.
That's the dream.
That's
The
how you'll
dream's not
get-
to work, all right?
No wanking and just Bali life. But I'd say thank you very much for listening to the podcast. I'd say that's great.
Yeah,
If you've lasted this long, well done.
yeah. Go over to Spotify, Apple, whatever you want right now, and listen to the audio-only version of the podcast. Thank you very much for watching.
Have a nice day. See you over on Spotify.
Have a nice.
Preferably Spotify for the money.